All right, everybody, welcome back to Next Gen Cast. Today we're having a special outdoor, actually, well, kind of semi-outdoor.
We're just having an ordinary indoor edition today.
Yes, an ordinary indoor, somewhat outside because we're in my garage.
An ordinary, run-of-the-mill, boring, really. Indoor edition. Today,
we're in the garage and we got a nice little set going here. We got we got our latest arcades that we were talking about in the last episode. We got our Sega Rally in the background and our new Galaga arcade. So we've been working a lot with these arcades, restoring them and stuff like that. So
building some.
Hope you guys enjoy the new background.
Yeah. So we have a couple other ones in the works too. So we'll have another one in the backdrop there.
You guys actually have like videos made for these videos. Right?
Yeah. We're gonna be uploading some videos of the making of these arcades there, just for
Yeah, maybe you should post a link on the community part of YouTube and just put a link to the other channel that actually shows the making of these arcades and stuff. I think some people would be interested in it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, anyway,
so it's kind of crazy because earlier this week we did a video talking about the new Metal Gear. It was a general Metal Gear discussion. A couple of weeks ago, Caesar came over and we were kind of just talking about Metal Gear Solid 4, and I was like, man, we should just record these thoughts on a podcast. So we kind of just more or less talked about that, but we did also talk about the remakes too, because for me, like, I don't know if it's just because I keep clicking the articles, but in my Google News feed on my phone, every single article that's ever, whether it's rumors or whatever, has always showed up in my feed. And so I've been like getting news about this shit for probably about the past 5 years or so.
5 years, yeah.
And and then I started noticing that they're kind of a little bit more serious lately, and that's kind of why we more or less talked about them in the last episode a little bit more.
Yeah, there's been a lot more voice actors kind of tweeting and hinting about it. I think David Hayter kind of tweeted about it, just kind of hinted towards it, and there's been some game developing studios that have been talking about it too. Mm-hmm. So it seems a little bit more serious lately.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly hot air as it's been for the past 5 years.
Yeah, but for me, I feel like it's kind of been the whole last year that it's been happening. Oh man, people are still writing articles about an MGS3 remake. God, it's when is this going to stop? Because it's obviously not going to happen anymore because it's just rumors and shit. But I guess it actually ended up happening. The only I guess time where the rumors said, oh yeah, they're going to show the new trailer at this state of play. I was like, yeah, we'll see. I was like, I just had my doubts. So, but it actually ended up happening. So I guess as everybody
even up till the very end, you were basically doubting it. But I was like, nah, I think it's going to be real this time. So yeah.
But it's can the people who got it right this time really take credit? Because it's almost like a broken clock twice a day, right?
Yeah.
So it's can you really fucking take credit?
There has been a lot of people talking about an MGS1 remake, so those people were wrong. I mean, at least for now.
That's the thing, is that most of the people that were talking about it throughout the last 5 years were definitely talking more about a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake. But the thing is, I always thought there was a little bit more likelihood that they were going to do an MGS3 remake just because it's the most popular one, and it would be a good way for Konami to come back in and basically reacquaint with the audiences and whatnot.
Yeah, we used to do a little bit of speculation about the possibility of ever since 5 came out. We had a little bit of discussion about the weird jump in technology in 5. How you go from the whatever futuristic tech that you have in MGS 1, 2, and 4, but then you go back to 3, and then Peace Walker, where they had these really futuristic mechs.
Yeah,
and then you go into
arguably much more futuristic than even Rex, than MGS1. Yeah,
and then in 5, I guess they try to add some sort of story element where you can't let Sahelanthropus escape, because if you do, you're gonna unleash this technological blueprint, and it's gonna be chaos, right? And so we did some speculation in past videos where what are they doing here? Are they gonna take this and create a sort of a soft reboot of the whole entire franchise? Because how the fuck are you going to compare that to MGS1 and 2, right? And so we're back here. We have instead of continuing that, we are starting back to square one canonically.
Yeah,
with MGS3.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of makes sense. I think there are some kind of like some worries that I have about them starting with 3. I mean, it's just like at least they're not calling it 3. You know, they're calling it Metal Gear Solid Delta.
Yeah.
Which for marketing reasons and just to avoid confusion, it makes a lot of sense. But I don't dislike the decision for them actually calling it Delta, and I don't think anybody really has that many complaints.
Kind of a
about
cool
it.
name, rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it sounds cool. And the logo looks pretty
Makes
interesting.
sense.
Yeah.
It's a triangle too, so it kind of implies 3. But I just it just we were talking about this in the last episode about just about a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake and like what that would like what the 3 options were, and they were basically, just to put it in a nutshell, they could either just take the original game verbatim and just like basically make it HD, just like they basically have with the previous 2 and 3 and Peace Walker, which would be kind of hard because I know there's like source code type shit that Konami has,
doesn't have access to.
Doesn't have archived anymore. And then there's also there's another route what they could go, which would be to make basically like a HD version, almost like an MGS2 mod, but basically just kind of restrict some of the things that made the Twin Snakes easy, like the first person shooting and some of the dropping down from ledges. They could
also running with your gun while you're like shooting, which you could actually do that in 1.
Yeah. But so they needed to restrict a couple of things, and then they could just upgrade the graphics from there. And then the third option would be to just make a full-on remake. And that would be more like Final Fantasy
Which
VII.
I actually think they're still going to do with MGS1. Whenever they get around to remaking MGS1, I don't think they're going to remake Peace Walker. I don't think they're going to touch MGS5 or Portable Ops. I don't think they're actually going to remake Metal Gear 1 and 2. I think they're just going to go straight from 3, and then whenever they finish that remake, they're going to just go ahead and start with 1. But here's what I think. So I guess what Konami has said is that they're going to basically remake MGS3, but I want to say it's like a half remake because it seems like they're just mainly upgrading the graphics.
Yeah.
Even the carrots and frogs are like still in the screenshots in the same exact spots as they were in the original game.
Well, I think they just straight up imported the models directly.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, some of these comparison screenshots that you've seen, I mean, they're like, they literally fade them in, and they're like exactly the same like models.
It's also indicated by the fact that they're, as far as we know, it's pointing towards the fact that they are, instead of having the voice acting, re-recorded, they're going to go with the original audio files,
which I have no problem with at all. I mean, I think I thought I would have preferred Twin Snakes to actually have the original voice acting, but I know that the way they recorded that and the way they actually put that on the disc is basically just like a highly compressed file that they didn't like. There were some parts of the game where it was like mixed with the audio and just mastered that way, and they couldn't actually just isolate the vocals. So there's no way they could have done that with the Twin Snakes, just like re-import the audio files. Yeah. But they can do that with MGS3. So I think that's going to work in their benefit because they get that that exact voice acting that everybody loves, and it actually makes me happy because it doesn't seem like they're going to change the story too much.
Yeah,
which looking at the level design of the game, it looks pretty much exactly the same with updated graphics. Yeah. There's literally no changes at all, which there doesn't really need to be.
God, it goes beyond just like having the same level design. They literally imported the same exact
same
models.
Pretty much they re-imported or imported the exact assets and then just kind of touched them up. Yeah. They did a huge touch up on them, kind of like they did the Blue Point treatment with it.
Yeah.
And just completely made it next gen graphics. I don't know what engine it's on, but it looks good. I mean, there are a few things that I have like complaints about with the graphics, about some of the textures and the tree trunks and stuff, but like that's probably going to be fixed by the time the game comes out. But
even if it's not, it's okay. God, it's such a massive upgrade.
Yeah.
But one thing that I am kind of like, not to sidetrack too much, but like when it comes to voice acting, I'm really curious if they are going to go down the route of like going with a MGS3 remake and then like go straight to MGS1, are like, because of the difficulties that they had with the audio, are they then going to employ are they going to do like a re-recording of like
dude, I actually like hope they don't. I hope they somehow just like can recover the audio files from MGS1 somewhere, somehow, or just take what they have and just like upgrade it, like maybe upres it somehow. I mean, I know that's like,
No, I don't think they're going to do that. I think
Dude,
I think
man.
MGS One is going to be such a
Yeah.
Okay, so with MGS 3, the new remake, it's going to basically be like I was saying before, it's going to be like a half remake, half remaster. Because I think they're going to like change some of the gameplay. I don't think the gameplay is going to be. I mean, the gameplay is pretty outdated as far as like the control scheme goes. They might just update the control scheme to fit a little bit more modern control schemes, so that way newcomers are going to enjoy it.
At this point.
And they might even have some of the guards AI be upgraded, and they're probably going to make some changes, quite a few changes to the gameplay.
Yeah.
The maps are going to be the same. I think the voice acting is going to be the same.
With them just one?
No, on MGS3.
Oh, okay.
And so I think that game is like pretty much like already kind of, I mean, not really set in stone what they're doing with it, but just looking at the trailer, looking at the screenshots and what the press release that they came out with about talking about the voice actors, I think it's kind of safe to say that it's going to be like a half remake and half remaster.
Mm-hmm.
And then with MGS1, I think that there's no way they can actually even make that remaster that game or remake it without actually doing a full blown remake. And I think, like we were talking about this before, but MGS1, I mean, even though it would technically be a sequel to say Metal Gear Delta and Snake Eater, and then you would have a sequel remake of MGS1. But then there's going to be like a huge downgrade in the gameplay and the level design, and then you know what I'm saying?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like they need to like remake that game from the ground up, just so that it can be better than the previous entry. You know?
Yeah,
Not
because
even just
there's
the control
even-
scheme. Not even just the control scheme, but like basically everything. The control scheme, the gameplay, but also the level design.
Yeah, they're going to have to change it.
They have to. They basically have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, they can keep like the same basic design, but just expand the areas.
Yeah.
And have the same like basic like the heliport, for instance. You come up. Maybe there's like a little. Maybe it takes you a little bit longer to actually get to the actual heliport. Maybe they make the heliport bigger. Maybe they have more guards, more paths. Maybe it's like more obstacles and whatnot. And then just make it bigger and better. Like make it a little bit
the
more
heliport, like having its like ground zeroes level.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
sort
exactly,
of
dude.
Yeah.
That would be fucking awesome.
I think they absolutely should not do a open world remake with MGS1.
Oh yeah,
I don't even think Konami really even is going to
Nah,
put that much money into
No,
it. They're
no,
probably not going to put the resources into making it open world. I think they were only willing to do that with MGS5 because Kojima was directing it. That was the direction he wanted to take it. They had the funds. They knew that it was going to make money, so they went ahead and did it. But I think with an MGS1 remake, I think it would probably be pretty close to Ground Zeroes with like as far as the scale, because you have to think about it. It's kind of similar in a way, like with MGS1 and MGS Ground Zeroes, is that like you're infiltrating a base. There's like some I guess a whole open area like outside before you get to the base, which is kind of similar to the heliport.
There's only a couple of small entry points into the base.
Yeah, there was also a heliport in the Ground Zeroes level too.
Yeah.
So they could still.
That's what I'm saying, though. So once you eventually get to the base, the heliport area, there's only really a couple of little entry points into the base itself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of more, it's kind of really akin to the design of the heliport from MGS1.
Yeah.
So they could do something like that.
Yeah.
Just
And the
expand
thing is,
on it.
like,
They're going to have to do a lot of freaking, creative kind of thing. But, dude, the tools today,
No,
man,
I think
they can do it.
once they actually make their money from the MGS Delta remake, and they got a little bit more funding to throw into this project, they're going to get more serious developers. I mean, the thing is, a lot of those Metal Gear Rising, or not Metal Gear Rising, but Metal Gear Survive developers that worked on MGS5, the people, the whole thing about Fox Engine was that it allowed the developers, like just the regular guys that were making, like coding the game and making, like it allowed anybody to just. It was so easy to develop for that just any of the programmers or anybody could just make the levels.
Yeah.
So I think that
that was even the case with MGS5.
Yeah.
Because remember, like a lot of the missions had their own directors and had their own, like everybody. I remember Kojima even said that in one of the interviews, is that he just kind of like, the tools were there. He kind of oversaw the development of this Fox engine, and once he did that, he kind of like let the reins off for the development team to kind of like make their own stages.
Yeah,
and all
also they had that Kojima Productions LA studio where they made the online mode. and they also had some sort of like I think it was UCLA or something like that. They actually had a Kojima Productions or Fox Engine course that you could take where you could learn like the Fox Engine and stuff. And they were just learning how to make levels in Fox Engine. So it's like a very easy tool for them to make levels. And even if they're not using Fox Engine, I think that the team is probably like, I mean, you have to think that, whatever team is left over at Konami, which there's probably a good amount of people still there.
I don't know about that, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. But
haven't made a AAA game in like fucking 8 years.
Yeah.
So how many people did Kojima take with him whenever he left?
Pretty key people. I'm not going to say.
No,
like,
they were key people for sure.
They didn't take that many, but they were key people, the ones that he did.
I mean, yeah, I mean, sure, but I just feel like those people aren't the only people in the industry that can make new levels. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
they can make some. I mean, it's if they're going to put this.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing about this whole project, about the MGS1 remake project, is about it's basically like, it doesn't really. The game's already finished. All you have to do is kind of just work within that freaking that realm to make the game work.
Yeah,
yeah. You'd have to actually you'd have to try kind of hard to like fuck up.
Yeah.
Because the game is already out there. It's already done. There's already the formula for like, there's already rumors of like another MGO, and it's like why would you like you already have MGO 1.
Yeah.
With fucking Snake Eater.
Mm-hmm.
So like why would you like you already have the formula with like with with the MGS4 or MGS5 online, which is like which was really fun. So why would you even like it seems like they have like a pretty good blueprint to like make this a really good experience. And also another thing that I'm kind of interested in is it like the voice acting with like with David Hayter, because let's just say that they would remake they go forward with this remake and it becomes successful and they get with like MGS1. And we're assuming that they have to re-record Snake, right? So we already know, we've already heard with the interview with Young
Yeah.
So David Hayter knows what Solid Snake sounds like in MGS1.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm kind of wondering about is like, is he going to employ that same like
Young Snake?
Snake?
No, of course he would. Like that's part of the charm of the first game. It's just like Young Snake. He has like a raspy voice, but it's not too raspy.
Right.
And it's like he's definitely like a younger version of Snake.
That surprised the fuck out of me because I thought like with the the later games, I thought maybe like okay, well David Hayter is the way he's using his voice is just like it sounds too
cartoony almost,
too snaky.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just like he just kind of started developing it and kind of overdeveloping.
Right. So whenever like I was like, well, so he pointed out like the difference between like what he's doing now or at the time and like the MGS1 like version of Snake, and he just like did it just like flawlessly.
Yeah. I mean, really shit, that's good news.
Yeah.
So it's like he could just redo that, and I think. I don't know if they're gonna redo the same magic with the voice acting as they did in the original.
They won't.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's going to be a different game though, because I feel like whenever it was with Twin Snakes, it was like verbatim the same exact script. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
I think they would recycle probably about like 80% of the script from the original.
Yeah, I agree.
But like they're gonna have to expand it because there's gonna be new things and new areas and new. They're just gonna have to expand it. It's just too short of a game by today's standards.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that was another thing that I was wanting to mention about like the downgrade of MGS3. Because it is a longer game than MGS1.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so, if they were to just do the same treatment with MGS3 as they do with MGS1 as they do with MGS Delta.
Yeah, dude, if you beat it twice, you get the tuxedo, dude.
Yeah, I know. And you also get the stealth camo and you get the bandana. And
I love, dude, I love how like in MGS2, I love how the stealth camo is like canon.
Yeah, I mean,
just like straight up like,
awesome. So is the bandana.
Yeah.
Infinite
ammo.
Oh yeah, infinite ammo, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, but then it's like, but that was they were only able to do that because of how simple games were back then.
Yeah.
So are they going to like employ this? Or
I think they will. The thing is, like Metal Gear is like no matter. I feel like as the better the graphics got in the games, they got more quirky as they went. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think they'll still still use that same kind of quirkiness.
Imagine like acquiring stealth camo in MGS1.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of the game. You
Yeah.
just acquire it. Like something.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I just don't think that that there's going to be. I don't think they're really going to beat around the bush as far as like the kind of quirkiness. Like I was saying before, it's like the graphics were better, the games were more realistic.
Yeah.
And then by the time MGS4 came out, which is arguably like one of the most realistic looking and feeling MGS games, that was the most quirky one. You know, so it's like I think it'll still work. You know, it's still fictional. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's like that based in reality. I mean. It is, that's just them just taking that out would just kind of take away some of the identity of the game,
Sure.
So I think, I think they're definitely going to have that. But, I don't know. I think overall, though, like MGS1 would definitely, they're going to have to make the maps bigger. They're going to have to rethink the guard paths and the AI.
100%. I'm pretty sure they're going to.
They really just have to make it more like Ground Zeroes, I think.
Yeah.
Well, then, that's the thing, though, is because there's already talks about importing the gameplay from MGS5 into MGS3 remake. So which would make sense, and in fact I wouldn't be against it at all. Like as far as like the running, the freaking the way that you access your weapons and all that stuff. Like I wouldn't be against it if they actually employed the same exact gameplay from MGS5 into MGS3, but then they would be forced to do it with MGS1 and 2.
Yeah.
So
and even possibly update it even more.
Yeah, no, for the next ones. Yeah. So like they just got to really like.
So I guess like
I'm pretty sure they know. they've been thinking about it for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like they're not just going to be like, what? This is what we have to work with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're not going to be blindsided. They know MGS1, and they probably are already planning. In case this game is uber successful, which I'm sure it will be. I'm pretty sure it's going to be massively profitable for Konami. Maybe not as much as the original, but it's going to be enough to where they can definitely heavily fund a sequel. Which will be Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah, the thing is they have to keep getting better. Which, luckily for us, I guess that would mean that MGS2 would be the best remake.
Man, you know what's crazy though is that it's
imagine like just like instead of like the two sides of like Big Shell, it's like they upgrade to like 8 times the size.
Yeah,
like 60
well,
struts.
you know what I mean. They could probably make it a little bit more like the home base and MGS5.
Well, yeah, you can always like design like not survive, but like it
stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Man, you know what's crazy though, and I've been thinking about this past couple of days. It's like, man, dude, people are like, I feel like people love MGS3 so much because it was like
more accessible.
The PS, it's more accessible, but I think a lot of it had to do with just like the technology being just at a really good point whenever that game was developed. Yeah. Like you were like already like getting into the late generation PS2 era. You were probably like right at like, I don't know, 60% into the fucking generation of PS2. But dude, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by how fucking badass MGS1 is.
Yeah.
Well,
So
a
lot of people just haven't even played it because they refused because it's too pixelated.
Yeah, no, it's too pixelated. It's too, exactly. It's just like too archaic. It's not archaic, but like it's too like rudimentary. It's like very freaking basic and like it's basically just like Metal Gear 1 and 2 in 3D.
Yeah.
But it's like. But the thing is, that game, the atmosphere, the freaking soundtrack, the art style, the color palette, even the freaking everything about that game, I believe was like massively superior to fucking MGS3.
I think it's really the soul of the entire franchise.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm praying for? You know what I'm fucking really hoping for? You know how fucking Big Boss basically hijacked the franchise?
Yeah.
It's fucking Solid Snake, right? He's the main character, right? But then fucking Big Boss, Metal Gear Solid 3 was like, really fucking, it's considered to be the best game. They continued with his storyline. But like, think about how much more of a complex character that Solid Snake is. So imagine this would be such a fucking like, such a cool ass turnaround where you start with MGS3 and then you keep going and then you get to his clone.
Yeah.
Then you find out, oh shit, this character is actually way more badass.
Yeah.
And he fucking, regains his throne.
It always
as like the fucking, the main character.
The main character of the franchise. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous that like that Big Boss even took that throne to begin with because he was actually just always meant to be at first he was meant to be the villain.
Yeah.
Then he was just always meant to be kind of like a basic character.
Yeah, something
you know? And
that
then-
you always
and then
they
it
always
wasn't
talked
really-
about his corpse or some shit.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
know. It's like, his DNA and shit, and it's like, he's always supposed to be, I guess they kind of built him up to be kind of like this, this
Super
this-
soldier?
Yeah, whatever.
The best
but, like,
soldier that ever lived.
yeah, but you were his clone, so you
Yeah.
like, had to deal with that, plus like, kind of like a lot of other issues too.
Yeah, you had to like. Well, he had the sort. They had that storyline beat where it's like, Solid. David was able to question why is this
Yeah.
right, and the original is supposed to be the person that that made the mistakes and like went down the wrong path and everything.
Mhm.
But then it's like, man, I really hope that culturally like this it kind of plays out, because like now he'll be able to just like I remember going through a little bit of not a playthrough, but I had this friend who decided her first game was MGS5, right? And we talked about the game and everything, but then we decided to just sort of like go through the storyline, and by the end of it, we went through it in like in a canonical fashion. So for MGS5, MGS3, because she didn't play 3, I don't think.
Yeah.
And then we went with like MGS1.
Did she play
I'm
Peace
just-
Walker?
I think she might have. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, that's the best one, I think.
Yeah. But then we went
At least the
with,
best one with Big Boss.
yeah. But then we went with like 1, and then 2, and then 4. And by the end of it, she was just like, yeah, Solid Snake is like the best. Is like the way better
way better character than MGS than Big Boss. Yeah,
So
I know.
I'm
I
big-
agree. I mean, I always
yeah.
liked Solid Snake.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I remember like, okay, it's cool that they're bringing like whenever MGS3 was announced,
Mhm.
and I was like, man, it's really badass that we're gonna be able to play as Big Boss.
Yeah.
It's really fucking cool.
Mhm.
But I thought that it was just gonna
It
be
was
like kind of a
supposed to be
one-off thing. Or
Dude, I
something.
thought-
Like a
I thought-
spin-off,
right?
Yeah.
3 was going to be a one-off game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I swear they should have. I remember thinking that whenever they announced the game, I was okay. Then we're going to go back to which we did,
Yeah.
and then not exactly. There was portable ops, but like
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, let's stick with this. And then they make it with Peace Walker and MGS5. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I personally don't think that Big Boss is really that interesting of a character.
Right.
I really don't. Like,
Especially in MGS5 because you're not even playing as him. You know?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think they really dropped the ball on like really focusing the franchise on that character. I mean,
Yeah.
he's badass. Don't get me wrong, but he's not as like intricate as like Solid Snake.
Yeah. No,
Well-
I feel like Solid Snake's story is the main story. Like it's
Yes.
the main story of the entire franchise. It's like him kind of like taking down the Patriots, and just like ending the whole fucking thing. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
not
Just-
only that, he's got that strong underdog sort of like story.
Yeah.
Where it's like I'm a clone. I'm just a copy of somebody else.
Yeah, he has to
But
fight
he-
his own genes. Really,
he has to
you know?
fight, and he does.
Yeah.
Not only that, he's a inferior clone compared to Liquid,
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like
and he's
even
able to
just-
fucking overcome
yeah.
that too.
I feel like there's a lot more like philosophy based around Solid Snake.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
He's able to defy destiny.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's such a strong story point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like with Big Boss, it's just like, okay, it's just a Cold War story,
Yeah.
and then and then the other games, it's like you're not even playing as Big Boss. The Peace Walker was awesome.
Dude, don't get me wrong. Big Boss's story and that whole arc
Yeah.
is really fucking
No, it
good.
is. It is. I mean, even with the boss,
it
I mean, I
could
feel
have
like
been.
arguably even the
Yeah,
boss.
but-
I'm
is
talking
like
about the
a-
ending of his arc.
Yeah, no, I feel like even the boss is like maybe even a more deep character than Big Boss.
Yes.
you
Isn't it
know?
kind of crazy that like Hideo Kojima himself like considers like Big Boss to be the superior character, yet he didn't even put him in fucking MGS5?
But
Yeah, no, it's
yeah. Well,
pretty
it
stupid.
just kind of goes in the face of like what he said about. He even told like a little story about it, about like so I forget which documentary or which video, but there was like an interview where he was like he's waiting, he's hoping for like this little kid who's like maybe like out of shape, is like maybe he's told that he's not able to do certain things because he's like he's not cool enough. But then he plays Metal Gear Solid 1, and then he finds out that like even though this character has like the recessive genes or the inferior genes, he's able to surpass his own limitations. But then he goes from that, and then he goes to like Big Boss. It's like, oh yeah, I like Big Boss better because he's like the original. It's like
Yeah, it's kind of shallow.
very shallow.
For characters he created, he should know better. I don't know. It's weird.
I think it's literally because it was MGS5 was coming out, and it was just like, okay, well, I think he's a better character because like
but he wasn't even in the fucking game.
yeah.
Wasn't even the character that was being developed. And it's so, I mean, we've recorded podcasts about this before, but I still to this day think it's absolutely ridiculous that like they advertise the game
the thing is, it's like,
as being like this game where like, he basically like was advertising, oh yeah, we're going to see the downfall of Big Boss, blah, 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 all this shit. And it was just like really freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, here. Thanks.
But like, I think it's just stupid that he was just he was like he had this grand idea that he was going to basically like show us the downfall of Big Boss and all this stuff, and then he just didn't pull the trigger at all on that.
Yeah, kind of cowardly if you ask me.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, he didn't even fucking make him the main character. Stupid.
Well,
Stupid.
not only that, what you saw from the trailer, it hinted at him doing really fucked up shit. Like it even kind of hinted at him like shooting up like a bunch of kids,
Yeah.
a bunch of child soldiers. But
yeah, and then his own soldiers, yeah, and then like he, there's a whole scene of him in the hallways. Like, oh man, dude, we're really gonna see like Big Boss. Like,
Wasn't even Big Boss.
I know, dude, it wasn't even fucking Big Boss.
I know, it's
like, God, dude.
Yeah, I know.
well, even if he was, the execution. That's just even if we were to assume that like it was Big Boss, the execution was like very flawed.
Yeah.
Because dude, yeah, like okay, he's shooting at these kids in the cage, but he didn't really. He had to kill off his.
Did he just shoot off the lock?
He shot off, yeah. But like
Fucking
he was supposed to
ridiculous.
kill off his soldiers, but like not only that, not only was he like really supposed to because of the disease, because of the Wolbachia or whatever the fuck, but also like a lot of the soldiers like actually gave their lives. They were like
They were saluting him. They saw it as a heroic act that he was doing.
Yeah,
so
I
it's
know.
like
it's like the furthest thing from edgy.
the furthest thing from like understand. Oh shit! Oh wow! Big Boss really is a piece of shit. No, dude.
Yeah.
No,
It wasn't
not
even
at
him
all.
anyway. It wasn't
Yeah,
even
no.
him anyway.
But like for you go from that to Metal Gear 2. Yeah, I'm fucked up, Snake. My son, I'm so fucked up. I love war. I love war. It's better than sex. I fucking hate. It's like, how do you go from like MGS5 to that?
Yeah, no, dude. And the thing is, like, it was kind of ridiculous. I don't know if y'all follow this guy. His name is Python Skeleton or some shit. He's like a guy on YouTube that's been like making Metal Gear content for a long time. Thing is, like,
Isn't he the guy that uploads videos like every week or
yeah,
something?
yeah, almost every day.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, you're talking about Future Productions.
Oh, yeah,
that guy's
that's right, yeah.
badass. But this guy is, he's got some kind of weird takes. Overall he's pretty good. But like, he just released a video today, and it was like the evolution of Big Boss, and he starts it with Metal Gear 2.
Yeah.
Because theoretically it's not, so he just shows like, oh yeah, the evolution of Big Boss. And he starts off with the Sean Connery, and like, what about him in fucking in Metal Gear 1? That's actually, it's like, just because Hideo Kojima retconned it in fucking MGS5 doesn't mean that it's actually like not Big Boss, you know?
It's like I don't even consider MGS5 really that.
I don't even care, dude.
It's not
That,
even
that game is so bad.
It's like,
Story wise, I don't even consider it canon. I
Yeah.
refuse to in my mind.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, this is not. This does like nothing to tie in anything.
Yeah, it's just like muddles it big time. Just like
Yeah, it almost creates a different fucking timeline, if anything.
yeah,
Like it's not really like canon.
yeah. I
It's,
mean,
it's almost like fucking fan fiction.
yeah, I would say so too. I felt like Peace Walker was the last game that actually felt like it was actually tying in with the
Yeah.
original story and
Yeah.
stuff. But
It's unfortunate because I can sort of empathize with what Kojima was trying to go for, or I guess maybe he did go for it because people are resonating with it. It's like MGS5. It's like, dude, it's not Big Boss. It's you. It's you, player. Big Boss is actually you. It's all
Yeah, but
of
he,
us.
it's like
he already
it's
fucking did that in MGS2.
It's like a Big Boss can be molded and shaped. Anybody can be molded and shaped into Big Boss.
Yeah.
What
And
kind of a
that
dumbass fucking storyline is that anyway? I don't even
but
like that to
it was
begin with.
it was basically like that's what he did with MGS2. He already like tackled that whole arc. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole story, that whole like idea, and then it's like he did it better in MGS2 because it was actually somebody that looked entirely different than Big Boss.
Yeah.
you know, and you knew that it wasn't Big Boss, but he was just somebody that was, I don't know, it was actually something that had a consistent story that was actually kind of, and just the way that he told it with the Patriots and the AI and stuff, and it was just so much better. It was executed so much better
I agree
in MGS2.
Yeah. He was able to, like, you know, just like, you know, at the end of the game, he's able to take your name tag. It's like, had your fucking information, well, most likely your information, and it's like, yeah, I'm not going to be this person. I'm not going to be controlled anymore. It just like throws it away.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like very powerful compared to what they did with Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's you. Hey, man, you're
hey, look in the mirror. Yeah, it's like your custom character, which
Big
which in
Boss.
most cases didn't even look like you anyway.
You were the real Big Boss all along, dude.
Yeah, no, the thing is, like, you just knowing if anybody had already played MGS2 and then you saw that, I mean, I remember thinking that right off the bat whenever, because, you know, like with the dog tags in MGS2, you type that information in, like, at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, so with that game, you didn't
You
really
mean
know.
whenever you
didn't-
typed it into the nerd?
Yeah. You didn't
Not
really,
nerd,
you didn't,
node.
you didn't really like see it coming, you know, because it hadn't been done before. But then whenever you created your character in MGS 5, right off the bat, I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be like, he's probably going to pull another MGS 2, and he did.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, it was actually way less tasteful, too.
Yeah, I mean, you could already see that. Remember whenever they interviewed him about that trailer that came out? Whenever he was like, you know, it was like a first-person view of the hospital scene. It's like, who is that? Remember whenever like there was that first-person shot of him looking at Kaz?
Yeah.
Or no, it was and it was like, oh, that's me. I was like, okay, so this is probably some weird fucking like, you know, meta shit again.
Well, not meta, but it was going to be just, it's going to be meta, but it's also going to break the fourth wall, and it's going to be you. It's going to be anybody. You know, it could be anybody. And it's like, okay, that just seems like
but it's
something he's
not
already
though.
done.
It's the fucking medic.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, that's kind of going back to the remakes and stuff. That's kind of why I don't really want Kojima to be really that involved with these remakes and remasters, because I feel like he's already like put everything he has. He's put himself into it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I feel like it's just kind of he himself has already recycled so many ideas. You know that he's. I mean, of course, he's brought a lot of new ideas too, but like a lot of ideas have been recycled, and I feel like he probably won't really bring anything as groundbreaking as he did in the original games. You know, like 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Even with MGS4, I mean, you could say that game was just like
a rehash of
of everything that he's done before. You know, and I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. That's why I don't really want him involved. And plus, you know, with Death Stranding, you know, I guess we already have our podcast about that game and how, you know, our feelings about that. You know, we didn't like the game at all. It was just a huge disappointment. And it just kind of made me, like, not even really respect Kojima as near as much as I did before.
The thing is, even since then, we've actually gone back and played these games, and I always like see the stuff that basically, like, you know, the stuff that you know, you're playing the game, you're like, God, this is annoying. It's always Kojima's ideas that end up being those things, like, you know, like the freaking camo index, you know, like how you had to go into your menu and change it.
Oh yeah, you had
and
to
then
heal your wounds.
or like even Zone of the Enders, which he produced, but he also had a hand in. And then like you're playing the game, and it's like this fucking balls of the wall, fun as fuck action game. And then you get to these parts where you're like, what? Why do I have to like? You know, it's, we're going to slow down this quirky little thing, you know. It's like, oh, yeah. The thing is, those ideas are always the ones that never actually translate into, like, the future, like, that well at all.
Yeah.
You know, for instance, like, the camo index that I mentioned earlier, like, that didn't even translate to the very next game. They just retconned it and just, like...
Yeah, they didn't retcon
well, not
it, but
retcon it, but they basically, like...
where it's like, they basically just made it to where it was an automated thing. And
yeah, the thing is, I might be in the minority here. I kind of had I had a little bit of fun with the camo stuff in them.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I mean, especially with how much you could customize it. With
I don't
your,
think they should get rid of it at all. I think they need to basically like give you the option to like opt out of it, which I will. I actually will.
I probably won't.
And
I like oh, the index is like higher here. But then it's like
maybe. I mean, they at least need to make it more streamlined, because going into the menu to like set it up, they need to make it like more accessible.
Yeah.
Because the way that it's in Metal Gear Solid 3 right now, you have to like press start, which takes you into the pause menu, which is a loading screen, and then not a loading screen, but it takes a minute to get there, and then you have to go down.
I'll go so far as to say that I even like the healing part too. like you get like that red part, like you have to go
Do
investigate
the
like
surgery and stuff.
Yeah, you
get,
see,
like,
you
you
know,
take,
and-
take the bullets out with your knife and like add the bandage and the ointment and stuff, and it's like
Yeah.
it almost like it's almost like a sort of like ASMR quality to it.
Yeah, no, I understand the appeal of it,
Yeah.
but what they need to do is they need to make it quicker and more
yeah,
accessible.
streamline
Like
it.
kind of like they
Yeah, I
did with
understand
MGS5, and they made like your loadouts like you just access all your guns and like your weapons way more easily
Yeah.
than you would with like MGS1 or 2.
Yeah, or
They-
like with MGS4, how you could customize your weapons and shit. Like
yeah,
that was badass as fuck.
yeah, they just need to make things on the fly way quicker. Like if they're gonna do that,
Yeah.
If they do that, then I'll be all gung ho about
It's gonna
But-
be like I wouldn't say that much of a challenge because it's literally we're talking about the 60s where you have to literally just like change. It's not like 2014 where you have a literal octo camo suit. We're talking about a character that has to change in and out of these
Yeah,
outfits.
yeah.
So how are they going to do that and like streamline it to where it's like they could go the octo camo route, but then it's like
Well, no, they don't have to use. Here's the thing: I don't want them to actually use octo camo. I want that to be like almost like the stealth camo that you unlock later on, maybe.
Yeah.
But like, they just
you're
need
in
to
a
make
patch of
it
grass.
streamlined. They need to make it like okay, like you just push like maybe push in the L and R button, and then you can have access to like a camo index there, and you can like they already have the percentages
quick
there.
menu or something?
Yeah, they already have the percentages there, and you just kind of and then it just like
Yeah, I mean, I
just
think
like-
I think that's what they were saying in their press release is that they're going to make it more streamlined, the gameplay more streamlined, and no loading screens. Whenever you go to each area, there's not going to be loading screens, which I still think there should be like some sort of subtitle like underneath it where it's just to show where you're at.
Yeah.
But there's obviously not going to be any loading
Yeah.
screens. There's going to be no.
it's gonna be.
I think they should do
It's gonna
quick.
be
Yeah,
badass, dude. It
should
should be
do-
seamless, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, imagine you have this seamless game, and then I know you have to push start and go into this menu and blah blah blah. All that. It's
Well,
like I don't know about that. Dude.
if I- well-
I got to figure out something.
Sure, yeah. It's just like, well, I do remember with that game is that like you didn't. I don't remember doing it that often. It's more like you're in that environment, and once you figure it out, you got a good like 30 minutes, even like an hour, before you even have to do it again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
That's
not
the thing, where it's
necessarily. There was some like if you're in tall grass, there's certain
tall
camos
gra-
to have, and there's some that you're in your mud is better to
Maybe-
have, in the
maybe like
shadows,
a-
or if you're in the light. I mean, there's like I remember having to switch a lot. Like just it was definitely not
Maybe
it was
like
probably every fucking few minutes that you had
maybe
to
like
switch.
when in terms of like the maybe you go into like an area, and then you make that area like you streamline it in that way.
Yeah,
Right? You go into a map, you go into the tall grass as, maybe like a quick time event or something, and then you switch it to like to where you're more, or maybe even make it simpler. You go into the area, and then you don't have to worry about it as much. So as you just do it like initially, you just like pick which which camo is like best, and then like, I don't know. Again, I might be in the minority, but I actually did have a lot of fun.
Well, they can still make it fun. They just need to make it a quick menu, like something that you don't have to actually pause the game and go in there. It's like they should make it more real time.
Sure. I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I actually did like.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
Maybe
I'm
I'm
just
just
trying to
the guy
see,
like
like,
menus. I don't know, maybe.
they just need to make the option of either doing that or do
Yeah.
a quick menu system, or just have it completely automated like the Octo Camo,
Yeah.
or just have a general sneaking suit that just like has really good, camo index, like wherever you're at, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I think that's how they should do it. But yeah, I don't know.
There's all sorts of gameplay things they need to upgrade outside of the camo index. I mean, they need to I remember playing Subsistence back in the day, and I thought it was perfect. But like, obviously, this franchise has evolved. I mean, even from 4 and 5, like whenever the whole I would even argue that Peace Walker, even though that was made for like a more restricted kind of like control scheme, felt more modern than MGS3 Subsistence did.
Yeah.
So they need to they need to just. I feel like they're gonna need to like integrate the gameplay from MGS5. Maybe not like have like the whole calling helicopters, blah, blah, all that shit. But they need to actually have the control scheme the same.
Yeah.
Like the diving, the freaking running, the sprinting and shit. They need to have like all that stuff. Like they need to make it feel as tight as MGS5 did. And thing is, I played MGS5 like maybe, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and I was like, God, dude, this game still like holds up big time, dude. It feels great. And the thing is, I already knew that was going to be the case.
Except for like the transition between like each location.
Oh yeah, well that's I'm talking about like just the raw gameplay once you're
Yeah.
actually in the
So they're
area
able-
and you're actually playing the game.
So like whenever
You're
they
in a
have,
base, you're freaking infiltrating.
yeah. So that's why whenever they have an actual like established game like MGS3, they don't have that like these like these ellipses of
Yeah.
like gameplay
Yeah.
that MGS5 had the problem of. They're able to have like these locations that's like back to back, like fucking just like full of chock full of content
Mhm.
experiences, and they're able to like just add to that design
Yeah.
like they did with MGS5.
Yeah. I mean, they need to just like, just import that. I mean, the thing is, they have access to it. I mean, it is
Yeah.
Konami. At the end of the day, they can just give them the code or everything, which I'm pretty sure they have. They're like, just make this game fucking badass. And I'm pretty sure the team's like, well, we already have this control scheme here we're working with. Let's just like put that in the game. Take off all the FOB shit. Take off all the freaking, the calling your helicopters, the Fulton shit,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Just take all that away. Make it more grounded in MGS3's, like,
Yeah, I mean, to make it more like, more like Ground Zeroes, but like, just take away like the helicopter, like,
Yeah.
like just where you
Calling,
can,
yeah.
calling the helicopter and stuff.
Yeah, actually, MGS. Actually, I would even go as far as to say I don't want them even doing drop offs. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah. I
Like,
mean, it's,
oh,
it's not.
equipment-
It's just not part of the game. Like
Yeah,
it's
not.
not.
It wouldn't even make sense
Yeah,
anyway
'cause you don't-
because
you don't-
like
it's not-
they'd have to send an SR-71 at that point.
there's
no.
certain-
There's also like there's no base building in the game either.
Yeah.
So there's no
There's
point
just-
in actually collecting soldiers. And
Yeah, but
stuff.
even like what I'm talking about is like how they would like, oh yeah, they're dropping you off rations and all that
Yeah,
shit.
there's a certain
Take that away. Don't do any of that shit. Just import the actual like the control scheme of the game.
There's a certain sense of safety that you have with MGS5 because you have everything at your disposal.
Yeah.
Like you guys said, call in a helicopter for some items. Call in a helicopter because I need to
Oh
get
yeah.
picked up.
Instead of like
it's kind of like
yeah, and-
anti-survival.
Yeah, no.
actually.
Exactly.
Instead of like putting somebody in a locker and dragging them, you just Fulton them into a portal or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And it's
exactly.
like. It just it definitely takes
All those quirky Kojima ideas.
Yeah, I know, but like I just feel like it just takes you out of the urgency of the situation.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like where it's like
Where it's like a
yeah.
solo
Remember what
mission.
I said in the last episode about like what I liked about MGS 1, 2, and 3 is that you just were dropped off in these bases. It was just you felt isolated.
Yes.
And it's like everything feels more real and more serious. But then with MGS 5, you just with all this like all the stuff that you just mentioned, like it just makes it seem like there's no sense of urgency. You don't really have to like kind of
Ration your
scavenge
shit.
for for whatever you can find. Like you don't really have to.
What do they call it? Like on-site
SOP.
On-site procurement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
OSP,
they need
OSP,
to
not
bring
SOP.
that back.
SOP is
Don't do the freaking helicopter drop-offs. Don't. I mean, I know that shit's
Yeah, it's
cool
not-
for like
it's-
it works with an open world game.
Yeah.
But this is not an open world game.
Honestly, I'm not
It's
even-
an open map
yeah.
game. Like it's a big map, but like don't do any of that stuff. It doesn't even work with this game anyway because of the whole like
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
like
MGS5
they literally drop you off in an SR-71. They ain't
Yeah.
coming back,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess with MGS5 it kind of makes sense because we're talking about Big Boss. He's already amassed an army, and so he's gonna have technology. So he's like a fucking he's Big Boss.
Yeah.
So he's gonna
they
have.
already have helicopters flying around everywhere. And
So it
shit,
makes sense
bro.
with MGS5, but like I hope obviously like how the fuck are you gonna have helicopters, like you're infiltrating fucking Shadow Moses, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Or
like
you-
a
or
top
you-
secret
or-
mission and shit. You know.
Or even fucking Operation Snake Eater.
Yeah.
They're gonna have fucking another fucking what's the name of that fucking plane? That
SR-71.
Oh.
SR-71.
Yeah. So like you're not gonna have like fucking 5 SR-71s fucking like.
Actually, technically, it's not the SR-71. The one that they used in the game was the CIA version. I forgot what it
Okay.
was called, but it was the silver one with the drone on top.
Mm.
That was it was a CIA version of the SR-74.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
It's still
yeah,
an SR-71.
yeah.
It still does like
Yeah.
like Mach 5 at least or
Yeah,
some shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
And,
it's like The thing is, like, I'm not even. To be honest, I'm not even worried that they're even going to implement that feature into the game. I think they know that it doesn't work and it's not going to happen. I just don't think it's going to actually happen.
All right. So, what other gameplay aspects do y'all think they could, improve upon in this new remake?
I think they just need to make the controls a little bit more streamlined, kind of like MGS5, where you could do like the side rolling.
Yeah, no, I already mentioned.
Yeah,
that
no,
earlier.
just like jumping and stuff like that, and just they probably need to improve the AI of the guards.
yeah.
which I don't know, they might or might not. But either way, I don't know. At this point, I'm just glad that they're even making a remake. You know, I just want something new to play.
I do hope that they keep the hunting aspect of it. Whenever you have to hunt,
Yeah,
for
of
your
course.
food.
They need to.
Yeah,
The survival aspect is going to
will
be
definitely
is going to
stay.
remain intact
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm not worried about them taking that out at all. That's a huge part of the story, or not the story, but the gameplay.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all. But it is kind of crazy to see like other people's reactions to it. You know, I know everybody's got their own opinions and stuff
Yeah.
about it, but man, there's just like so many people out there that are just like, if
Doom and
Hideo
gloom.
Kojima is not involved with it, then we ain't even gonna fucking play it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I honestly like think that this is kind of dangerous because we were watching like a video from GameSpot about some Metal Gear, or not even a Metal Gear fan.
what we're concerned about, or
Yeah,
some
I mean,
shit
it's like, man,
that.
you
Yeah.
shouldn't be worried about the concerns as much as like, man, at least you have like a new remake coming. You know what I'm
I know,
saying?
man, like, just
this
take
whole
it.
these people are still living in like 2015, whenever fucking the whole thing with Kojima happened. I'm
the
I'm
debacle.
thinking, yeah, they're like, oh yeah, you know, he's an auteur, and you know, he needs to, you know, they need to come out and they need to say that he's, you know, that they're consulting him.
Yeah.
They need to
Or
come
he's
out and, you know,
consulting
they
him.
need to know who came before,
Well,
you know, and it's like, okay, sure, like, maybe they should, you know, mention that he wrote the story, you know? I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to get credit.
Yeah,
for
he'll
that.
probably get credit in the game for sure. They're not
Yeah,
gonna.
but the
they're not
thing
gonna
is, like,
jump him with that.
Konami owns the IP of Metal Gear, you know? Kojima doesn't own the
Dude, the
IP.
thing is, I actually saw a video that was this. It was a pretty good video overall, but then this guy just once he started talking about Kojima, he was just like, I don't know. I mean, you know, I don't know what's going on with them and Kojima, but you know, this guy needs to get paid. You know, he needs to get, you know, his fair share because he, you know, it wouldn't this wouldn't even be a thing without Kojima. I'm like, dude, but the thing is that Konami made Kojima. You know,
Yeah.
like there would be no Kojima without Konami.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, a lot of people don't realize that. Okay, yeah, if we go into the nitty gritty, and like he does not own the IP, Konami does. You know, they gave him the team to work with.
yeah,
that
they,
made
they're
the
the
game.
most talented team in the industry,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. They gave him all the resources, the studio, the computers, the freaking research trips. You know, all of these things that probably
Military advisor.
yeah, the military advisors, all these things, like just to make the game possible. And Kojima, he took no financial risk whatsoever. He wasn't the one funding the game. Like, you know, that's what a lot of people like don't understand about, like, yeah, no, I know there's like a lot of like sentimental attachment to Kojima because he is the director, he's the, you know,
Yeah,
semi-writer.
he's the mouthpiece, you know?
Yeah, he's the
His name
he's-
is in, you know, Kojima Productions, but also, if you were to, if only people would read the game plan of MGS2
yeah.
and the game plan of MGS3, at least the game plan of MGS2, the ambition between like with those projects is just like so like impossible compared to, you know, if you were to compare that with the technology that they had, you know, at the time, that like, I mean, he's got some ideas that are really intriguing and like really out there, which is like, you know, obviously adds, you know, it's adds a lot of soul. It's the soul of Metal Gear Solid, but like once you really delve into that, you start to kind of realize, at least I did, that yeah, maybe executive meddling isn't such a bad thing.
It's not at all.
Because it's like, you know, they were able to like kind of like, you know, kind of pull the reins a little bit. It's like, hey, okay, this is a little bit too crazy. So maybe it might have been a little bit too crazy to fucking have, you know, the boss have her tit out and just fucking jiggle around.
Look
with
like a
fucking-
laughing snake and
Look like
shit.
a laughing snake. It's like, who the fuck would even make that connection?
Well,
Yeah.
dude, the thing is, like,
Right.
a lot of these ideas did make it into the game, and they're kind of like the ideas that, you know what I'm saying? Like, the ideas that are, like, kind of fucking weird and just, like, out of place.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, I guess-
stuff that wasn't in MGS1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it only got, like, more and more ridiculous as time went on with him and his, like, you know, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to make a whole mission where you, like, escort fucking, like, you know, Emma by hand, and then I'm going to do it again in MGS3 with, you know,
And also in Zone of the Enders, too.
yeah, and Zone of the Enders, it was the worst. I was like, dude, this game is not supposed to be an escort game. It's like, you know, like, I don't know. Like, the thing is, like, I love Kojima. I think his contributions to Metal Gear Solid were, like, probably more than anybody else on the team. but like he's not the end all be all. Like I mean, in fact, if you like go back and watch like some of these documentaries of MGS2, like a lot of the ideas for the gameplay, like the core gameplay, he didn't even come out with himself. He actually would hand out like these little sheets of paper that would basically, like, every single day, every member of the team would basically have to like write an idea of gameplay and then submit it to Kojima, and then he would like basically approve them or disapprove or whatever. And then so I mean, there's like all sorts of stuff, and this is what I keep going back to is like, he doesn't own the IP. He didn't fund the game. Like a lot of why MGS is so good is because there was a lot of talented people at Konami at the time, not just him. I mean, you had people in the freaking, like, you had Yoji Shinkawa, you had freaking just like his programming team, the music writers, the writers, Shuya Murata. He had just a bunch of people like aiding him. Even
the guy who was
Motosari,
the military.
The military advisor,
Motosada Mori.
Yeah, that guy. They provided him with everything that he needed to make this game, and you can't really like pin it all down on Kojima.
Yeah, I think that's actually like one of the most important things is that if a company like just floods you with inspiration, to create what you want to create, and I feel like that's actually more important than the creator. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you actually create the environment for people to be creative and just to like brainstorm ideas and just come up with some really cool stuff, and you just make it really easy for people, I think that's like the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the environment that they had at the Konami office. They actually had like all of these like mock-ups of these guns and stuff that they were using. They went on like trips to New York to do like photographic research, and they went to tankers and stuff to do photographic research.
All those pictures are amazing. You can see all the research that went into it, and all the people that modeled it and everything.
If you really have somebody who's highly creative, and you give them that type of opportunity to just like just basically just unfettered opportunity to do what you want, then like that's where really the magic happens. And I think that really comes down to the company, the culture of the company. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if Konami is able to recreate that type of environment for the developers, then I think they're gonna do good stuff.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of doubt about them being able to do that. But the thing is, I mean, they're just a casino company. They're just like doing like a pachinko and all that stuff. But like, I mean, the thing that gives me a lot of hope is the fact that they not only released Zone of the Enders 2 and have that fail.
Oh, you mean the original? Yeah.
But then, despite that, they came out with Mars.
Yeah.
Which is like they remade that game. They straight up remade that game. They made it VR. And just like enhanced that game so much.
Yeah, I know that they had a massive graphical upgrade. Yeah. Like they added like just all these new fucking effects to it. Like it was like a 4K remaster. I mean, the thing is, it's kind of crazy because I'm actually jealous of that game. Like having. We have Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 like remaster, or the HD remakes or HD remasters, and then the one that fucking like the
with VR,
the one that gets the crazy remaster with VR, upgraded polygon, upgraded freaking textures, upgrade all like really like a souped up remaster is a game that actually was financially like not really like profitable.
And also even the remake that they put out, but wasn't even financially successful either. It's like they just did it out of pure passion, know, and they were taking a huge risk, and I think that just kind of tells me that like Konami still wants to make their IPs, like they want to update them,
the thing is that game was actually like extremely good. Yeah. The Mars remake was like, okay, this is exactly what they needed to do, and they did it. They actually succeeded in it.
Yeah.
And it was like just like so like above and beyond, and it was like it's. I am a big
beyond the bounds, would you say?
but yeah, it's like for this game that's like obviously like so niche, why wouldn't they have this type of energy for the greatest fucking one of the greatest, most successful franchises in the world?
Yeah. Well, now they are. And the people are, you got some people that are just like, I don't know, man. It kind of seems like suspect, who's developing it? Why isn't Kojima involved? Why isn't Kojima getting paid? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, they're also talking about like paying the voice actors royalties and stuff. I'm like, is that in their contract?
I know, man. Like, here's the thing. Like, Kojima negotiated with Konami at the time. He got paid. Probably fucking pretty handsomely too.
Yeah.
But like, so did these other actors. Like,
Well,
you're not just owed money for fucking things that you didn't negotiate
yeah,
for.
you know, the thing is, it's kind of like crazy because people just like want to just like suck up to Kojima big time, but like I think that people kind of just like will just forget like how much he actually kind of screwed over people. You know what I'm saying?
Dude. Oh yeah.
Like he fucking screwed over David Hayter. He screwed over Stephanie
It's funny how
Houston.
people forget that.
Yeah.
He screwed over Jeremy Ballstein too.
Yeah, and then it's
Who's
like
Jeremy Ballstein?
He's the guy that was the translator,
localizer.
the
Yeah, he's-
localizer for MGS1 that like made all the changes that made that game badass as shit.
Yeah.
And then, so they screwed over Stephanie Houston. They screwed over David Hayter as well. I mean, that being the biggest one. I mean, that was a whole thing.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah,
didn't even give him a proper send off at all. There was no passing of the baton. There was no honorary kind of.
They sit here and say, "Oh yeah, they
departure.
need to honor Kojima," but it's like Kojima didn't even honor freaking David Hayter. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I know. We saw this GameSpot video. It's like, yeah, is David Hayter getting paid for this? I'm like, dude, I'll tell you who didn't pay David Hayter is Hideo Kojima for MGS5.
He literally just like slapped him in the face pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I got my new Hollywood guy.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
anything,
you know?
Konami is the ones that are like actually, bringing him back out of the
remember
freaking.
David Hayter was like, he was the one who had to reach out.
So these people don't be giving Kojima, like Kojima's got his problems. Like Konami's made mistakes, but so is Kojima. Kojima's arguably made bigger mistakes than Konami. Like, I mean, here's also another factor. It's like y'all weren't there during the freaking development of the entire MGS franchise. Like, I'm pretty sure that, here's the thing, that by the time MGS1 even came out, he was already at the company for like over 10 years. Developing the Penguin game, then he did Snatcher, Police Knots, and Metal Gear 1 and 2. He literally did 5 games before he even touched Metal Gear Solid 1. Yeah. So this guy was, and then he did the Metal Gear Solid series, and then he was just one game after another. He was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. His ego is getting inflated, and then it got to a point where they're probably like, dude, this guy, we can't even freaking work with this guy anymore. I mean, that's also a factor. This guy, he does seem like his ego. I mean, he literally just released an autobiography of sorts called The Creative Gene, which I actually bought. And I read the first maybe I don't know 10, 15 pages, and I was like, man, dude, this guy is really far stuck up his ass, dude.
So is it a collection of interviews or what?
It's basically it's basically a collection of of excerpts he's written for Rolling Stone and all these other freaking things, but also has a foreword and an opening chapters by him just to kind of talking about his creative process. He strokes his own ego more than anybody, even more than James Cameron and shit.
Okay.
So he's very self-indulged guy. He's a very self-indulged guy, and it really he just buy his book, and I was like, man, I literally returned it because I was so grossed out by it. The thing is, I have a massive Metal Gear collection. I have I would say that my Metal Gear collection is probably bigger than 99.99% of Metal Gear fans out there.
Yeah.
I literally have every single version of every game. I have all the freaking the PAL versions, the freaking NTSC versions of every release. I have the freaking
Japanese versions, the re-releases,
the freaking special
books.
Editions, the art books.
Do you have the Spanish version though?
We have the MGS2 trailer DVD.
Yeah, we even have the MGS4 military files. And stuff.
I have, dude. I can't even begin to tell you how much I have. I have the soundtracks. I have the freaking I have autographed posters. I have autographed action figures. I have all sorts of shit. I have the making of books of the games, the actual files. You know what I'm saying that they released. I got magazine collections from EGM from the '90s and a massive amount of magazine collections.
Which is kind of, if I'm going to be honest, this is what kind of makes it to me not just logically it makes sense, but it's just it's so looking back now, it's actually kind of shocking that you guys obviously I am a fan of Kojima and Metal Gear Solid, but you guys were fucking super like really like Kojima really impacted y'all's lives in like in a very strong way.
Yeah.
And you would think that like you would actually like follow him to the ends of the earth, right?
Yeah, I know.
But you know, because of like Death Stranding, you know, because of or not even no, to be fair, not even Death Stranding, because of like the decisions that he made when it comes to
Well, I
storytelling.
think it really started with MGS5.
MGS5. Well, not even that. Peace Walker had its own like weird moments because like fucking Kazuhiro Miller.
Well,
like,
yeah,
what-
but those are like minor compared to like the
Minor,
overall
but, like,
thing. Like the problems
say
that I
that-
had with MGS5 story,
Yeah.
and the freaking like the presentation of it, this at least as far as the cutscenes go, and then like that leaking into like him starting his own studio. Dude, I was like gung ho though, even though there was like massive problems with MGS5. I always equated it to like, oh yeah, maybe he just like didn't have the time to complete it because
Yeah.
they rushed him towards the end, and
But even
because
back then, we had our criticism
because of the whole debacle,
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is like, and then he announced his own private studio, and I was like, oh shit, dude! Now we're gonna get like unhinged Kojima.
gonna
And
get
little
the
did I
true
know that
Kojima.
was actually like a terrible thing. Like Hideo Kojima, Unchained is not a good idea at all, and it kind of like really brought out nothing but all the negative aspects of his contributions to like even like whenever I play that game and I went back to go see Metal Gear, or I played Metal Gear, the Metal Gear franchise, I was like, oh yeah, that's Kojima's idea, and that's one of the ones that like pissed me off even back in the day a little bit. And I was like, these kind of weird quirky ideas that kind of just like literally just throw a freaking wrench in the cog, you know what I'm saying? Like you're sitting there enjoying the game, and then it's always his ideas that are the ones that like, boom, nope, you're gonna have to fucking do this ridiculous shit now, like the PAL cards, for instance. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, if they remake MGS1, they're gonna have to redo that PAL card shit, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I know it's like an integral part of the freaking like thing, but they need to find a way to make that different. Maybe thematically it can remain, but they need to find a way to make it work where you don't have to like spend like
I think-
probably like an hour and a half
I think-
like backtracking just to like heat up a card. You know
I think
what I'm
for
saying?
the time, it was like a really
Yes.
cool.
Yeah. You know why?
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
what I was mentioning
Yeah, yeah,
before.
yeah.
This is the thing. That's coming from the context of playing Metal Gear Solid in 1998. Whenever there wasn't anything else fucking real, like, dude, think about like the amount of like things that you have at your disposal now to play,
Yeah.
and like the amazing freaking experiences that are just awaiting your freaking touch, right?
Yeah.
But now, can you imagine like freaking people now play? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to backtrack. Oh, you know what? Fuck
Yeah,
this
yeah,
game.
no, it's kind of like think about like say in like 1998 or something, right? Metal Gear Solid came out. The only other game you had to play maybe that was kind of similar was like Siphon Filter or
Yeah.
some shit. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, of course you're gonna fucking put up with all that shit, like that's kind of annoying and stuff, just because it's like, oh, I want to see what's gonna happen with the story. I'm so
Yeah.
invested into the story. This fucking whole game is just like mind blowing because it's better than anything else that's available right now. I'll put up with this fucking PAL card shit. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying?
What I'm saying is that like, okay, I'm saying that like, if it was Kojima's idea at the time, it's still a good idea because it was a really good idea.
Sure,
for the time.
but like in hindsight, like it's not like as like strong of an idea. Like it's one of those ones that it's his ideas that are the ones that don't translate as well, that aren't as future proof as like the ideas that just like the general team there at Konami made. Like
Yeah, I just
for
don't- I
instance,
just don't-
like I'll give you a couple other examples, like the whole Emma, holding her hand for like wasting all that time, and then you got even in Zone of the Enders, whenever you have to escort the girl back up, it's like, God, dude, this is freaking annoying as shit, and like all the stuff that like
Zone of the
purposefully.
Enders have an escort mission.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was fucking annoying as shit. It's
yeah,
like
I don't remember.
definitely the worst
Zone of
part of the
Enders
game.
too. It was hands down the worst part of the game, and it was I think the idea that he probably was most involved with, and but it's just these things that like you just see in the games that are like, man,
Yeah,
I just don't think that people have the attention span anymore to like play a game that's like not that it's gonna
Well,
just
I'm
inconvenience you that much.
People don't
you know
have
what I'm
time to waste like
Yeah.
they used to.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not arguing for the endurance of Kojima's ideas. I'm just saying that, like, for the time, I'm just saying that, like, there was an appropriate time for Kojima, like, back in the day.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I just don't think like dude, the thing is like I actually kind of like the idea of the PAL card. Like I actually think it's a pretty cool idea, and it's like the fact that we're even talking about it this much means that it was actually like an idea that stuck with us. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a cool idea, but like I'm just worried that like a new audience would be as accepting towards it as if
of course.
Okay,
I think what it is that like it is pretty obvious that like his ideas don't translate, because I understand what you're saying. His ideas don't translate, towards.
They're not future-proof ideas.
They're not future-proof, but they were still really good for the time period.
Yeah.
And I do think that he deserves credit for those ideas.
Yeah, no,
back
I
in
do.
the day.
Like
That's
I mean,
all I'm
I'm not
saying.
going to say that the PAL card was like an achievement of his, but like maybe the Mantis like memory card thing was.
Right.
But like. I'm not gonna just completely shit on him. Like the guy has like made like really amazing ideas, and he actually built the Legos of the stages and shit. So I'm not gonna like knock him too much, but like he was integral to freaking Metal Gear Solid, big time. Like as I said earlier, more than anybody else on the team. Like he was.
And the thing is, I think it had a lot to do with him being like really thirsty too, as a young creator and stuff. And I feel like he had to prove himself, and he wasn't really gonna put some bullshit in his games that people wouldn't be willing to put up with. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the more and more that his ego got inflated, and the more like people just kept stroking his ego and just like kept giving him more creative freedom, and like it just made him just like not really come up with like ideas that would be as successful, like more kind of like mainstream ideas that are like just
the thing is like the PAL card is like the least the lowest offender. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not really that big of a. I mean, I know I use that as an example, but that's like that kind of just goes to show you that like MGS1, like that's maybe whenever you have to go get the PSG1 too, you have to backtrack and shit. But like those are like not even that bad.
Or whenever
especially considering that you can go back in those areas and you actually have a new level card and you can go unlock other weapons.
Or whenever Snake gets a cold.
Yeah.
He gets a cold and you have to fucking like look for like some medicine
Pentazamine or something.
Yeah.
But another thing is that like I feel like the reason why they even put that PAL card idea in the game is just because of budget constraints. It's like they had to be actually creative with the way that they had to like they only had so much storage capacity on the disc. They couldn't just like create all these new levels and stuff for you to just like explore and like, oh yeah, I gotta heat up this card and I'm just like exploring this new area and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
And that's throughout the game too, because it's not that's a bad.
But if they were to remake it, so here's the thing: if they were to actually remake MGS1, they could actually have you like explore new areas to heat up the card, to freeze it, and like they could still make it work, but keeping it fresh without it like just being as cumbersome as like going back into these areas you've already visited and stuff like that. And
it might not even have to do with like heating up or cooling down. There might even be some sort of like new innovative way to like
maybe you have to get into some certain areas to get other cards or something. You know what I'm saying? It's not really like that freaking like.
Also, because like the game itself takes place because whenever it takes place in 2005.
Yeah,
it doesn't take place in like modern day. It might take that's another element that's like really interesting to me now, because it's not because whenever MGS 1 came out, it was the future.
Yeah.
Compared to like 2005, compared to 1998, whenever the game came out.
Yeah.
But like now, it's like okay, now the game has a locked like time frame.
Yeah.
If like the game takes place in 2005.
Yeah.
So now they have to take into account like the technology of 2005.
Yeah.
So that's another like interesting thing that we're really have to kind of have to explore. Now we have like like you guys said, where like MGS3, you have to go back and you have to come up with like novel ideas of like what would be high tech for 1963, right?
Yeah.
But now they have to go back and take into account what's novel for 2005. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a challenge for them for sure to actually like think of new ideas about like just think about like what was actually available. It's like with MGS, it always takes place in kind of the nearish future. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
taking into account what's been disclosed and shit from the FBI.
Yeah, no, exactly, and it's like okay, it kind of makes it a little bit harder to actually make the game make sense.
Yeah.
But I just think I think there's ways they can make the game. I mean, I don't think it's going to be as hard of a task to make this game more like fresh and interesting with just by making new areas open. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like what they did with MGS4. Like they have new areas that you never even got to explore.
Another game that's like we're past the date of.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. It's like, MGS3 was always going to be a better one to remake because it was like made in the context of like the past, whereas like MGS 1 and 2 and 3 and 4,
There's not
MGS 1, 2, and 4 were made in the context of like the near future.
there's not a lot of 60, 70, 80-year-olds that played MGS3, dude.
Yeah, no,
So,
exactly. Oh, that didn't happen. But even so, like the thing is, like the fact that like you have like the '60s technology, he was able to implement like prototypes that they made, like the Soviets made with the hovering like devices that they were on. Like that was stuff that like never really made it to like mass production, but there were prototypes of it, and it was really awesome that he implemented that idea into the game, and I mean it's just. That game is like, I have no problems with that game. Like, overall, like, I mean, of course I have some problems with it, but like, I just think that it's just a really good game to remake first. I think it makes actually the most sense because the game is like already like pretty modernized, as far as like telling it's like they have like very well executed cutscenes. They have like the CQC. They have like a good combat system. They got good ideas that are just like it's just a very well refined game.
Yeah.
And I think that with MGS1 and even 2 to some degree, like those games like still need some reworking to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think like those need, especially MGS1, that definitely needs a major overhaul to actually fit into the modern era.
Yeah. Another concern that I do have. So I'm wondering if they're going to be if they're going to be good, if they're going to ring true with Solid Snake's ban of CQC, because we're going to start with Metal Gear Solid 3.
CQC is already
Dude,
a thing.
I think they're straight up going to put CQC in MGS1.
Yeah, they're not gonna. They're gonna retcon that whole thing. They're gonna
dude,
retcon that whole thing,
Yeah,
dude.
that's gonna be retconned. Like, there's no way. It's like we're gonna stick that true to the original. Nah, I think they're just gonna remake it. It's gonna be like closer to the remake of like. I don't know. I mean, like Resident Evil 2 and 4 remakes, like which are just like completely just overhauled gameplay. Just they're not even really necessarily the same maps. It's just like the thing is like that's what Konami has to compete with. These are games that like. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, well, it's gonna be very easy to retcon this.
Yeah,
because
in this context, yeah.
Not only because it's like, okay, well, what the fuck, that's stupid, obviously, but also they already have CQC in MGS1.
Yeah.
It's called Close Quarters Battle.
Combat or CQB, right?
CQB, yeah. Close Quarters, yeah. So it's like it was already a thing before MGS3. So it's like, why even create the band? So it's like literally because it's like a fucking gameplay thing.
Yeah, dude. They're just gonna reword
maybe
it.
You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe Kojima is a dumbass, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the only reason why he even put CQC in MGS 4 is because it was just the gameplay. It was like he couldn't. It was a sequel. He had to like improve the gameplay. It's not like he can. CQC is illegal. So I got to obey the law. I can't. I can't.
No,
I can't believe that was even their
like, because it was illegal because he has a personal. Like, I don't want to. It was such a dangerous thing. I don't want to like do it anymore. It's
it was something. It was Big Boss's way of doing things.
Just say it's a gameplay thing, dude. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
No, they're not going to do that. I'm not even worried about that.
No, I agree. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's probably not going to make it into the game, or it's probably CQC will make its way into MGS1 if they remake it.
They're just going to retcon it.
Yeah, which is why they actually need to update the levels. They need to update the game overall, the maps and the AI. there's going to be a lot of fucking like things about MGS1 that are just going to have a major overhaul, and it's going to take a lot of like, dude, they're going to have the A team on that one for
Man,
sure.
dude.
Like, yeah.
Just like kind of changing gears a little bit, but man, dude, I'm pretty sure that freaking Shagahod chase at the end is gonna be badass.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Actually, I mean that probably is one of my favorite pieces of MGS music. Actually, is that Shagahod
Man,
battle?
yeah.
Like,
The chase, you mean?
not the chase, but the one that was leading up to it. Like, wait a minute. Actually, I think it was the chase.
Yeah,
it was the chase. Yeah, the chase. Whenever it's actually on the runway and stuff. That's probably like one of my favorite MGS songs. Actually.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah,
You know what I'm actually looking forward to as well is the last few like maybe like 1 or 2 hours whenever you fight Rex. You're actually fucking like traversing. You're fucking climbing up the ladders, and you're on Rex. You're fucking touching Rex, and it's like, what the fuck? You're actually fucking like, you're fucking like climbing
Yeah.
the actual fucking mech that you're going to fight.
Yeah. Well,
That was
it
always
kinda
a really
same-
cool, like,
It was a pretty
kind of-
similar thing with the Shagahod too. When you're trying to blow it up, you
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
like you need
See
to
it
go on
and
top
shit?
of it.
Yeah,
But
you're
yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like you
With
did
the sticky
Yeah, the
C4?
C4, yeah.
Oh, C3, I think.
Oh, C3, yeah, you're right,
Yeah.
you're right, yeah.
But,
That was badass, dude.
Yeah.
Man, that freaking
yeah,
game,
I
man.
remember
whenever
MGS3,
you, like, you're
dude,
trying to capture,
I
like,
literally
missing
can't
eye.
wait to see like what Groznygrad looks like. Remember whenever you got to Groznygrad at
Yeah.
night, and then
Oh,
the
yeah.
snow it was snowing,
Yeah.
and then it would just cut off because the freaking
hardware
game, the
limitations.
hardware limitation
Yeah.
couldn't. Yeah, it would just cut off. I remember it looked like badass for like 30 seconds, and then
Yeah.
it would cut off. I was like, that sucks. But now we finally get to actually experience that whole thing like it was as it was intended.
Yeah.
It's actually supposed to be snowing whenever you're traversing the whole freaking base at night. And
Yeah, they're probably gonna make it
dude,
look way better at night.
Dude,
than they
I
did
can't
in-
wait to fucking
Yeah.
see that shit, dude.
Yeah, it's
Because
probably-
like
it's probably gonna
that was
look a
always
lot
like my
more-
because I remember I was like, oh, this is kind of reminiscent of Metal Gear Solid 1 with like you're infiltrating a base at night and shit, and like with the snow. And I remember I was always like looking because remember they did the rain so good in MGS2.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if they do snow this good in MGS3, then I'll be like all about it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, it wasn't as good as the rain in MGS2, but it still looked amazing. But it literally cut off after like fucking 30 seconds and shit. And then it just like never came back. Like, I don't know if nobody really talks about this too much, but like it was something that I was like really looking forward to. I don't know if I just like really, I was always a big fan of like weather effects. I always thought weather effects always add like badass atmosphere to an environment. And like,
At the very least, it's one of those things where it's like what Red Letter Media. It's like you probably didn't see, you probably didn't think about it, but your brain did. One of those things.
Yeah. But like, I remember, like, you remember that scene whenever you're like, basically you get to the Groznygrad, you're like going through these tunnels. I think it's right after you beat maybe it's after you beat the Fear. No, not the Fear, the Fury. And then you climb up and you go back to Groznygrad and you like open up the shaft at the top. Remember?
Yeah,
And
it's like
night.
it's daytime.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nighttime. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, dude, like, no, it's nighttime.
Yeah.
And then you go up there, and then it's like, oh shit, it's fucking like badass fucking graphics, and then it just cuts off. I mean, don't get me wrong, the game still looks really good,
Yeah.
but like it's actually supposed to be fucking snowing in that scene, and that's one of the main things that I really hope to see. I mean, I know it kind of seems like a really weird kind of like.
It's not weird at all. I mean, like
Yeah,
that would
it
add
adds a
add
lot more to
to
that.
it.
Yeah, it
The
adds
thing
a lot
is,
more.
you can see the developers' intention of like adding those effects there, but they literally just added it. It's like, this is all we could do. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but
probably
then
like they cut the frame rate
Yeah.
like big time.
they probably cut the frame rate once you got into the areas with the
Yeah,
guards.
they
and
honestly,
shit.
But
they
I
honestly,
Remember,
I
that
do-
was always the case. Whenever,
I
because
do
remember,
sh-
there was guards right there, right around the crates.
Yeah.
Not the crates, but the containers.
yeah,
And once you saw a guard, I think is whenever it cut off. So like anytime the memory like just couldn't handle the snow anymore, it just would like, all right, now you're playing the game, But yeah,
Yeah, but I guess I do share the concern because that is a little bit of a niche detail. So there is a chance that they're not going to like pay attention to that.
man, I think it would just add so much like atmospheric quality to it, though.
Yeah.
It's like it would definitely be way more aesthetically pleasing.
There would have to be some competence, some artistic competence to like whoa, there's that to like recognize like there's that artifact of this thing, and there's this cutscene, but then they cut it off. Maybe we ought to implement that to the gameplay.
Yeah, dude, it's kind of ridiculous because like you can tell that they put actually like quite a bit of effort into this snow engine.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like, imagine if you were playing Metal Gear Solid 2 and you just like, oh my god, this rain looks amazing.
So
And
then
it
you
just
play the
cuts
game and
off.
it just cuts off.
Well, I
Just
mean,
cuts off.
it does cut off by the time you fight Olga.
No, it's actually still raining, but
Well,
it's a
not the
different
same-
engine.
Yeah, it's a different engine.
Yeah.
It's like way more like
Well, they have
drizzly
the
or whatever.
awareness to like keep a rain effect.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely still raining at that
Yeah.
point, but it's just like they cut it down because of all the other shit going
Yeah.
on and stuff. But like, but like memory limitations shouldn't be a problem at this point, so they like need to freaking put that back. But anyway, we need to go on to other stuff.
Yeah, the music is one thing I wanted to touch on
Mhm.
too. Like I think MGS3, the remake, is probably going to keep the exact same soundtrack. There's no way they're going to change it. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like it's just too iconic. Just
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Harry Gregson Williams. It's like literally just a Hollywood soundtrack.
Yeah.
And then even what Norihiko Hibino put in there was like fucking amazing. So I don't think
Man,
I don't
I
think-
agree with you though. That one track that you're talking about, the Shagahad Chase one, I don't know what it's called, but
They might just be called the Shagga-
yeah,
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
That one is like one of the best freaking MGS tracks
Yeah.
on
Also,
the entire franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that I like the one from MGS4, Desperate Chase. That one is like just as good, but
I don't think so, but I think it's like pretty close.
Also,
Yeah.
whenever you're
We'll
fighting
compare
the,
later.
the front half of the Shagahod, with like Volgan's taking control.
Yeah,
like,
dude, that whole fucking
one's-
scene is
God,
so
man,
cool,
see, that's
dude.
the whole thing about like that game. Like with MGS3, like you had those like high octane moments, and MGS4 also, and then with MGS5, you didn't really have anything like that. And then with Death Stranding, it even got more fucking like
subdued and shit.
subdued and kind of depressing and shit. And I'm just like, man, this isn't the same Kojima,
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, kind of like, I don't know if he's even the best advisor for this game at this point because he's just a different person now,
Yeah, he is.
And
Well,
I think they need some new people that are just like kind of
They got some
really
freaking-
fucking fired up to make
Yeah.
this game like as good as possible.
when it comes to bosses, I saw the decline with 3.
Oh yeah, big time.
I think we
because-
kind of talked about that in the last episode, right?
We did, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it sucks because 1 and 2, like they were like way more involved in the story, but in like starting with 3, they basically became Pokemon.
Yeah.
They just said their own name like over and over again.
Yeah. It was
The
just like
Fury, the Fury.
yeah.
I went to space and then I got mad. The Fury, the Fury. It's like,
Yeah,
dude.
I remember
why?
like hearing that reading about these bosses and shit in the magazines, and just thinking that they were gonna have like really deep stories like they did with MGS1 and 2.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it
I
got
didn't-
even worse with MGS4 though,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they didn't
Well,
even
here's the thing
say
with-
shit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, with MGS1 or with MGS4, at least like Drebin told you a little bit about their backstory.
Yeah,
but
but
like,
like that was not
the
anywhere
interaction
near
was
as
like, everything's so funny. Because I'm crazy. Everything's so funny. Everything is so sad because like I'm sad.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm screaming because I'm fucking mad. It's like,
Yeah,
dude.
dude.
yeah, it's
I know.
very fucking
Yeah.
basic
Yeah,
emotions.
dude.
and
I
shit.
mean, I'm kind of like shocked that like people even really like consider these boss fights to be the best. And dude, I'm sorry, but here's the thing: Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 had way superior boss
Yeah.
fights than MGS3.
Yeah.
It's just a fact, dude.
well, I mean, not as far as gameplay, but as,
Well, I mean,
No,
yeah,
I mean,
like
story-wise,
gameplay,
they're
yeah,
better.
story wise, definitely.
Yeah.
Gameplay wise, yeah, it's like I think especially with the end was a pretty badass fight.
yeah.
Freaking
Even
the
also
fear
well, here's
was
the thing,
okay.
that even if you like managed to kill the end before you actually fought him in the game, and
Yeah.
you got to fight the Ocelot
Oh
unit,
yeah, dude, that was a
still,
badass fight.
yeah,
too.
that was still
actually
fucking awesome.
like to be honest with you, that's actually my preferred way to play the game. I actually like killing the end early, and then I like facing off against the freaking Ocelot unit.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's
fucking
actually badass.
Really?
Especially whenever you're in that fucking one area that has like the waterfalls that keep
yeah,
going down.
Yeah, that cutscene and
Yeah,
shit.
well, it's not even cutscene. It's just an environment that you fight him in.
Yeah, I
think.
know, but it's just like I think there was a cutscene with them in that environment or something.
Maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never did that. I never
Oh,
fought
really?
the Ocelot unit,
They're actually pretty cool. I don't know.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. It's
Something
just
to look forward to in the remake, I guess.
maybe, dude. But
Yeah, but anyway, going back to the music though. So basically, what I was thinking is like, okay, so for MGS3, they're obviously going to keep the soundtrack the same. There's no way
Yeah.
if they're going to keep the voice acting the same, they're going to keep the soundtrack the same. They're going to have it a very loyal remake. But I think with MGS1, that one is going to have to be just like with the whole game. It's going to have to be updated.
Yeah.
But I think they have to keep that soundtrack like as close to the original as possible.
I don't
but
think they will.
I think they might they might
no,
do
they
what they
probably
did.
as far
They
as
will.
far
It's just
no,
too
they will.
iconic.
They
It's just
will.
too iconic.
They will. They will.
I don't think they will.
They already did kind of like do away with it.
They're not gonna like make it sound MIDI, but they're gonna like respect. I think a lot of the like the notation and like the chords.
Maybe,
and
but
shit.
I think they're gonna overproduce it.
Well, I mean,
You know,
maybe
hey.
overproducing is fine, but like maybe not fine, but it's better than what they did with the Twin Snakes.
Yeah,
Twin,
dude.
Twin
That-
Snakes.
that's the worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Because what they did with Twin Snakes was they just completely fucking reinvigorated what that soundtrack was even supposed to be, and it fucking fell flat on its face,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Like
There
the
was
thing
some
is, I
okay-
actually like whenever I saw the trailer for the new game, and I was driving home from work, and you know, for all you people out there, I mean, I just want to share a little bit of my personal life. I have to drive like about an hour and a half to work every day, so I have a lot of time to listen to MGS soundtracks. But anyway, I was listening to MGS1. I was listening to Snake Eater, and then I was like, I'm going to listen to some MGS1. The thing is, the first thing I noticed right off the bat is that MGS1 is like way more punchy and loud.
Yeah.
It's fucking like got like a lot of like, you know, even like it's got like more hits and shit. It's more high octane. It's more synthy. It's more moody. Actually, I think personally that MGS1 soundtrack is the soul of MGS. Like I
agree with that.
it's the pinnacle of the fucking sound of Metal Gear.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kojima knows that because whenever he had you go back to Shadow Moses, he didn't even change that at all. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe as far as like the amount of hits goes, it was more of like a subdued version of the soundtrack and more updated and like more orchestral
Well, as
and
far
shit.
as Rex's Lair's theme goes,
He
which
definitely did right with
Dude,
Rex's Lair.
Rex's
dude.
Lair was motherfucking
yeah, that should be-
badass.
that should be the
That
blueprint.
should be the goal of what they do with that soundtrack.
Yeah.
Because I listened to Rex's Lair and I was like, yeah, this is good, but it ain't even near as good as what they did with MGS4. I actually really like MGS4's Rex's Lair.
Looking back, I'm actually surprised that they did such a good job with Rex's Lair.
Yeah.
Because they straight up just expanded upon it.
Yeah.
The original is like really good. Like, you know, it's got the formula, it's got the fucking badass blueprint, but they actually did right by it. They fucking like they like even like the right mood, the right timing, the right the right like the rising of like the tension, everything. It was just like I was just so blown away how
Yeah.
fucking like well that it like they remade that track.
Yeah, dude, I agree. It's like literally like, here's the thing, dude. Okay, so for MGS, this is why I always think that MGS1 is like, people are going to be shocked whenever they go back and they fucking really experience MGS1 in an updated way.
Yeah.
Because like, I was just listening to the soundtracks today, or for over the past like 3 days.
Yeah.
And I was listening to freaking MGS1, and it was just like, dude, this is fucking, it's all badass. It's just like, serious. It's taking itself serious. But then you get to
Those are
MGS2.
regular
Even
cigarettes?
even MGS2, you get to it, and you're like experiencing it, and it's badass. And then the second you walk into the tanker and you're inside, and you're just like, it's like a porn fucking soundtrack. Dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's like yeah,
like
yeah.
that fucking
yeah, dude. It's kind of goofy.
Definitely
you know
has
what I'm
that.
saying? Yeah, dude, exactly.
Yeah.
If it's those posters that are in the fucking
Yeah, exactly, dude.
But if
It's-
I'm gonna be honest, I don't mind it that.
no,
much.
I don't mind it that much.
I don't mind it, but I think that if the thing is, it works with the game. But that's just why MGS1 is my favorite one, though.
Yeah.
Like because it actually like takes itself seriously.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
dude, this fucking soundtrack is.
Yeah, there is a comedic element to that.
Yeah.
That big shell like.
Yeah, dude. And I you go back and listen to MGS1's freaking soundtrack, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Like the whole soundtrack sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
it's just like, oh yeah,
it
it
sounds
sounds like
it
some,
sounds
it sounds like some
MIDI,
fucking
yeah.
like, dude, like the world is at stake type of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, I know. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
no,
Especially when we get to Rex's lair, dude.
Yeah.
That's like,
Well,
Oh, yeah, well, that's
even
that's
like-
where
Man.
everything coalesces.
yeah, the tank
And you get-
hanger, the
Yeah.
tank hanger song. I mean, like, dude, like a lot of
warhead
these songs.
storage, dude. There's so many freaking.
especially when we get to like these fucking codec talks with like Otacon,
Yeah.
telling you how, dude, Snake, this is like literally the end of the world.
Yeah,
Holy shit!
Yeah.
The technology behind this like fucking Metal Gear, this is gonna fucking like this is crazy ass shit, and you're just like,
yeah.
yeah. Snake's reaction to it.
Dude, I'm telling you, man,
Masterpiece.
MGS 1 is like the pinnacle of the series. And I think, like, to be honest, like, you know, I think that, like, the mood of it is, like, so good. Like, it's
Oh.
the kind of like, it's industrial. It's like you're in these freaking, like, kind of rugged freaking bases that are kind of still futuristic to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, you know, like you're just like traversing these areas that are like, you know, the soundtrack is like very freaking industrial, and it's like,
You know what?
you got a lot of metal hits, and you got a lot of freaking badass drums and synths, and like, you know, just fucking like even the choirs, like they're like, I was noticing one thing about the choirs, dude, is that I think if they were to remake the soundtrack of MGS1, they should actually like incorporate that choir effect to some degree, because it kind of reminded me of like Terminator 2. Remember how those samples
yeah,
and
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
the artifacts
Yeah,
and shit?
yeah.
Like it kind of sounds low quality, but it actually like
Well,
works.
it actually adds texture to it.
yeah, it adds texture.
You know, they
there's
actually
like,
use
there's
that-
a ton of texture in that soundtrack.
You know, they use
because
that,
it uses
they-
samples.
Yeah.
They use that zoom. They actually use it for a Castlevania game.
Didn't
Yeah,
they use
no,
it for
no.
those Mazda commercials
No,
too?
they actually-
zoom,
Did they?
zoom, zoom, zoom.
No, they actually they actually used like a Roland keyboard. Like Konami used like some sort of like they got a Roland keyboard and they took all the samples off of it and then they put that into the chip on you know the game board, and then they just like basically wrote it off of those samples from the Roland keyboards.
Shit, it's in a
We actually have the keyboard, or at least the controller, which has all those samples.
damn.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yeah, they use that fucking that instrument or that sound in MGS4 Zoom. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they did.
yeah. They need to fucking do that soundtrack justice. And you know another thing that I think they should do is just like bring back the Metal Gear Solid theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just need.
Yeah,
to
I
bring
listened to that too, and I was like, dude, this is like,
To this day, I just don't hear it, guys. I just don't hear that much of a similarity to the fucking.
Well, dude, it's not even really like.
do you mean?
It's
Oh, you
it
mean to
sounds
that-
yeah,
oh,
it
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
very inspired by that Russian
dude,
song.
just fucking purchase the rights to it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like,
this,
fuck.
especially at this point.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
Yeah, just fucking like bring back the Metal Gear Solid theme, and just because that theme is so fucking good. I mean, even Harry Gregson Williams did a fucking awesome version of it with
With both 2 and 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
The,
then they
new,
just-
the
they-
new theme just not do it justice.
Dude.
no,
Dude. Like,
No,
no, dude.
that one's
that
good.
one was good.
It's-
that one actually incorporated the Metal Gear Solid theme into
yeah,
it, though.
because they actually
Did
It did, yeah. If
they-
you listen to the whole song, it actually the chorus of that song is the Metal Gear theme.
yeah, well, at least for that trailer,
Yeah.
which was the it was the whole song, it was the whole blueprint of the entire soundtrack.
I don't know.
It was
It feels like it tried to like incorporate the original, but like
No, dude,
here's
that
the
one
thing
does
is
have
that-
the Metal Gear theme in
So,
it.
so here's the thing though: is with Metal Gear Solid 3, they actually had the Metal Gear Solid theme in the trailers,
Trailer.
but like in the game, there was no theme
The
at all.
thing
in
is
the
that they
game.
never play the fucking main theme in the game. They always played it during the freaking credits.
yeah.
You don't actually hear like Tappy's even in the first game. You don't hear like Tappy's theme until the fucking credits. So it's like it's not really part of the game, but it's like the theme of the song.
it is
the
a game
now.
song, dude.
Well, the theme of the game.
Okay,
And they need to fucking like bring it back. They need to put it in the promotional material. They need to make an updated version of it. God, I was already fucking working on my own version of it too. But like, you know, just freaking do it, man. Like, have those synths in there and shit. And like, you know, the thing is, I know the ending part of it is kind of like a little bit like, kind of like happy sounding and shit.
Yeah.
But like, just freaking
It just-
update it a little bit.
Well,
you
they
know?
already updated it with MGS2. Just bring back the fucking Harry Gregson Williams version of it. You know,
At
what
the
I'm
very
saying?
least, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that version is like almost as good as the original. if not better,
Yeah.
in some ways. I feel like it definitely makes you. It has more of an impact. I think in some ways,
Yeah.
it makes you definitely
Especially
take.
the chorus, yeah.
Yeah.
That happy portion of it is just, I don't know, man.
Too tacky for you?
No, not at
Oh,
all.
okay.
No, I love it.
It's too it's
I'm
not-
saying
is
that like
it
they,
tappy.
it's too tappy. No, I'm saying it should like it's definitely falls within that range of like how it's like pretty cool, like the synth wave, fucking like 80s sort of like synth kind of thing. Like I feel like it's cool enough now to keep.
Yeah.
The happy part is cool enough to keep, I think.
Yeah, it's heroic. Yeah, it's like it's not happy. Let's say it's heroic in a very
Yeah,
positive
yeah,
way.
yeah.
It's
Heroic.
heroic in a very positive way.
Yeah.
But like I don't even know.
Especially
I don't know if this is true or not. But we were talking earlier about like people that Hideo Kojima's backstabbed throughout his career. But I feel like Tappy Iwase is one of these guys that like he just like kind of just threw aside, like he did freaking David Hayter, Jeremy Blaustein, and freaking Stephanie Justin and shit. Like, as soon as he got Harry Gregson Williams on board, he's like, "Ah, fuck you, Tappy. You ain't fucking shit anymore."
Yeah.
I don't know. You might have to
Edit that out.
you might have to fact check me on that, but I feel like that's probably what happened on that regard. But it just wasn't as like reported back then because
It just seems kind of snobby in a way because he's just like is always like just
he's always like trigger happy on these.
He'll just like use people, and then like as soon as there's somebody better that comes along, he'll just like, oh yeah, fuck you, I don't need you anymore, and just
dude.
like no transition, no like I mean, God, I don't know. It's kind of crazy that he actually like gave Tappy credit for the MGS theme, and it's like, man, well, why didn't you literally give this guy credit, in the Metal Gear Solid 2 trailer, but like, you didn't even incorporate his, some new songs that he could have wrote for the game,
Yeah, dude. He was like the go-to guy for like freaking Konami at the time.
Yeah.
Like he did a lot of the fucking. I don't know if he did Snatcher, but I know he did Police Knots for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, he definitely
And he
Police
did
Knots.
some pretty good work on Police Knots, and then
Yeah.
he fucking knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
On freaking Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I mean, he
And
just
then-
knew exactly what that game was supposed to sound like.
Yeah, dude. The music in MGS1 is very, very fucking masterful. And a lot of that goes to Norihiko Hibino. Like, she's the one who freaking did, like, the entire, like, soundtrack pretty much, like, after Tappy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
she basically took what Tappy wrote and, like, freaking incorporated that same vibe into the rest of the freaking soundtrack.
Yeah.
But, like, dude,
There's definitely a lot of credit given to Harry Gregson Williams. So, like, rightfully so, but, like, there's definitely a lot of, like, contribution that Norihiko Hibino
yeah.
was able to do. Definitely added a lot of, like, just, like intermittent, like, flavor to, like, the soundtrack of that game.
Yeah,
For sure.
I agree. Yeah, I think that if they were to remake MGS1, they need to like stick to the guns of the Patriots. No, stick to the guns of like the freaking the formulas that made it work. Don't like try to do what they did with freaking Twin Snakes. Don't be doing that shit. Like, understand that is what made Metal Gear Solid like extremely good. That was like one of the main things. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think people understand how important music is, but like they did it justice in that game, and they need to freaking like recognize like that they need to freaking do that more.
Yeah, there's a reason why the first game was as successful as it was.
Yeah.
So, like, it's it's always a shame whenever you have like an original property, like, have sequels, but then like they just sort of like almost forget what made them popular in the first place.
Yeah, I know. I feel like it's. I feel like they always lose sight of this shit. I'm really, really shocked that they actually even just ditch the soundtrack of the original game. They better not do that shit. And if they
here's
do,
the thing. I think that Konami is just like, they're kind of like Kojima was, and whenever he was making Metal Gear Solid 1, they're thirsty. They actually want to win back fucking the fans.
Yeah.
And I think that they're gonna do whatever they can to pay so much close attention.
Unfortunately,
What?
well, unfortunately, you know what? Here's a worry that I do have. Now that you mention it, maybe they will try to win back the fans. But what if the fans that they try to win back are the ones that are like, the lowest common denominator? The ones that, like, that they just like Kojima because he's LOL random.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
That's a
don't. You
real
know,
possibility.
I think that the fans of MGS 1, 2, and 3 of that era, like those aren't the fucking LOL random fans. I think that kind of came with probably like MGS Peace Walker to some degree, and then also MGS 5. I think
Yeah.
that's where a lot of those like new age kind of Kojima fans came from. That like I feel like the ones that are just like fucking just butthurt by everything, and like they're kind of have this like Twitter mob mentality, and like they're just out to get fucking Konami, and like, you know, they're just like they're more just like blindly take Kojima's side without even knowing any of his history of backstabbing people, and you know, I just feel like it's not really like, you know, so what if they don't have those fans? I feel like if as long as they have their core fan base and they build a new fan base of new fans, dude, I feel like if they do a good job, people will fucking want to take part and you know, in playing the new Metal Gear game. I think people are you know, optimistic about MGS3, but you know, I just feel like they're gonna have to like restart from scratch. And they're, like what I'm saying, it's like I think they're gonna. I don't think they're even going to try to even win back those lowest common denominator fans that are just Kojima fanboys. That, oh yeah, Kojima. You know, I started with MGS5, but Kojima, he's an auteur and he's fucking. You know, that
yeah,
whole thing that
these
happened with them, and it's, I don't know. It's just like
Yeah,
those fans.
Dude, you're
are
already
stuck.
starting to see these people come out of the woodwork like it's only been a couple of days.
These
And I
people
was
are
like,
definitely fucking overblowing things. All we have to this day, right now, as of recording, is just the trailer and some screenshots. That's all we have. And yeah, okay, we don't have a Hideo Kojima game. Okay, again, I'm not sure if if I mentioned this during the recording or not, but like, okay, I used to be like, whenever this whole thing between Kojima and Konami like went down and he left, I was totally like, man, you know what? I'm not gonna buy another Konami game ever again, you know, because I was
Yeah.
like in solidarity with Kojima and everything, and like blah 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 blah. But like, it's been fucking like what, like 8 years?
8 years. 8 years.
Well, you
now.
know,
So
the
it's
thing
like-
that actually broke that whole thing with
Was
me,
Mars.
Yeah, with Zone of the Enders, Mars
Yes.
was the game that actually is like,
Yes.
okay, Konami can still fucking make badass fucking shit, you know?
Out of a property that wasn't even popular.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, they actually like do, like, the thing is that game, like I think that from what you were saying about like, oh yeah, they don't want to appeal to the lowest common denominator. I think that's actually proof, is because they didn't try to, like, they already know that the Zone of the Enders fans,
That's true. That's
like,
a good point.
they aren't the lowest common denominator. That game wasn't really like, it was produced by Kojima and he had some ideas and stuff, but like, you know, they that was their way of saying like, hey, we don't really need Kojima to like still make a really good remaster of a game. Like, that's actually going to satisfy fans, and then it's like it's almost like a remake too, because like you were saying, it has the VR, like you know, you can play
Yeah.
the entire game in VR.
No, yeah, but
Such a good
they,
idea,
They,
too.
they did, they like upgraded the actual models.
Yeah.
They upgraded the textures. They added like motion blur. If you're into that, they freaking they even added like film grain and shit. They freaking like they made it widescreen. They made it you know, they added a new cut or a intro sequence, like animated,
which is
badass
awesome.
animated.
Yeah, and they
intro
also
sequence.
came out with like a remix soundtrack that was awesome.
The attention to detail that got me, not despite, but aside from all of that, is the fact that they got the cockpit right.
Yeah,
They didn't just put like, oh, it's like first person, it's the head. No, the cockpit is the fucking like the actual cockpit.
yeah.
That's insane. Like they actually they even got that right.
Yeah, no, and it looks really awesome too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
I mean, it ain't the best VR game I've ever played, but it was actually like as good as they could have probably made it.
Yes.
Yeah, I would actually want to play the entire game. I only played the demo of that game so far.
Well, whenever we did, we had a lot of fun. We even like, you know, went to like this part where like they had like these like trucks in like,
Yeah.
you know, at this gate. We're just like fucking spent like 5-10 minutes like looking at these trucks. Like, damn, it's like the sense of scale that you get
Yeah.
from like being inside the car.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
it's
it
like
makes
the-
you feel. It makes you feel like you're actually in a huge mech, as
Yeah.
opposed to just being like kind of like, you know. Whenever I play the games, the Zone of the Enders games, I always kind of like equate the mech Jehudi
Yeah.
to being like just like a person size.
Yes.
You know, and like whenever you play it in VR, you're like, oh shit, you're actually
You
like in a
feel
huge
like you're
mech.
actually like
Yeah.
in, you know, this regular sized person.
Yeah.
But inside of a mech, and you have that sense of scale, and it's got that helpful, like, you know, on the corner, like the actual model, the model of the mech. So like you see the motions that it does.
Yeah.
So you're I guess mesmerized by the fluidity of the movement.
Yeah.
But you're also like, dude. But they also like whenever you do like a spin attack or whatever, you don't actually spin.
Yeah.
You stay
Yeah.
in a static, thing.
Yeah,
So
no,
they
it
know
would
they're
be-
smart
it
enough
would-
to
it
know
would
that that's
be-
not-
yeah.
yeah.
It would be like if they did a fucking a VR remake of Sonic 2 or something, and then you're like doing the spin dash,
Or
like actually spinning. Like, oh shit, dude, I can't. I'm gonna throw up real quick.
Yeah.
well, they kind of did that with MGS too. Remember Raiden? Whenever you
Whenever you're in first person and you
Whenever
did the
you do a melee,
yeah.
you do and then you do the spin.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But like obviously that's more understandable because it's just like a one-time thing. Whenever you do that.
Yeah, I think
Like,
people
yeah.
just automatically think of Konami as just some dumb fucking company that just doesn't know what they're doing. They
I
know
can't-
they know very well what they're doing.
I can't blame them too much because I mean they did. Here's the thing about like society. No, like fucking you see a company that's making all these like fucking badass as fuck games, but then they have the business sense to just be like, you know what? Why are we making these fucking AAA fucking ass fucking games? We can just fucking make cell phone games and pachinko. So why not just fucking do that? And they do it. And so, like, as a consumer, you're like, why the fuck aren't they fucking making games? That's fucking bullshit. That's fucked up. This fucking corrupt ass fucking company, man. Fuck Konami, dude.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna. Again, I've been there.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, well, wouldn't you say the fact that even though they're profitable like that they're willing to remake a fucking like niche ass game that maybe they have it in their hearts to like fucking remake the fucking one of the most popular fucking game franchises in the world. Like,
Yeah,
again?
obviously they're gonna fucking put a lot of like thought, a lot of their heart and soul into it. Like,
Yeah.
dude, they're not just gonna fucking they're just gonna make a quick buck. Like, I don't think they're gonna do that. Like I'm saying, they're thirsty again.
Yeah.
They're actually trying to like build a new fan base. They're not- they're-
I think they were like pretty aware of basically like the amount of time that they had to let pass after Kojima's departure before they were going to be able to like tap into the Metal Gear universe.
it's like whenever we were watching that GameSpot video of that guy earlier. I mean, he was just like saying that Konami was just like fucking like they haven't made a AAA game in like so long.
Yeah, well,
I'm
they
like,
tried
couldn't-
and
they
then people
couldn't.
hated it.
Yeah, they couldn't. They literally like these fans. That's why I'm saying it's like it's kind of dangerous for these fans to be this fucking critical. It's because the game actually, if there's this much pushback with the fans, they might just cancel the fucking game. That's like I don't want that to fucking happen.
Yeah.
Like I feel like people need to fucking grow up, fucking like just get past the whole fucking Kojima fucking debacle that happened and just like move on. It's over. It's like it's been 8 years. Just
Yeah.
get over it already. Just
He doesn't own the property.
It's like, dude, at this point, I'm like, dude, let's fucking let's do whatever we can to like make this happen.
Get some more Metal Gear.
Yeah.
We should embrace.
Metal Gear.
Embrace new
dude,
blood.
Even if this like eventually results in a Metal Gear Solid 6, which is hopefully the end goal. I mean, fuck, dude. Like, why are you trying to like freaking stop them in their tracks?
Yeah.
We should be embracing this like as a potential. Like, who cares if Kojima doesn't direct it? Like, Metal Gear belongs to Konami, not Kojima. Like, they can't. They've already given the reins to like this other guy, like the John Vought Roberts, to do the movie. Kojima's not directing it. Why is that okay, but not making bringing back the games?
Well, I
okay,
mean, he does have his stamp of approval, does it not?
Well, it shouldn't even matter. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, the fact is that like Konami is like moving forward with like Metal Gear, and we should be happy because Metal Gear is an
Yeah.
awesome freaking property,
Yeah.
and it has a lot of potential. And Kojima is not the only guy
And
that
it
can
has
make
the
it
lore
work.
behind it to just like have a reference to.
Well,
so it's like-
especially, I mean, he's not the only guy that can make it work, but he's like, the game is already made. The
Yeah.
script is already done.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a potential Metal Gear Solid 6.
Oh yeah, I know.
though.
Well, the thing is, like, they could still consult Kojima about it. They could like get some, like, they could outsource. Hell, they could even outsource Kojima Productions as another studio to like aid in the development.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't they do that? You know, they could have them as the main developer and then just have Konami provide, you know, resources, or have Kojima Productions provide resources.
How fucked would it be, like, Kojima Productions except Kojima?
Yeah, no. I mean, the thing is, like, shit, that's still a possibility. But, like, you know, especially since they're still, like,
yeah,
somewhat
don't
on
be
good
getting
terms.
off on the wrong foot on this shit, man.
Yeah.
Like, right off the
I
bat.
feel
Like,
like
just,
the fans-
just give fucking Konami the benefit of the doubt. It's been 8 years. You know, maybe they've learned from their mistakes, which they probably have. Obviously, they have to some degree if they're willing to freaking throw some freaking big cash into this shit. And, you know,
For a
they're
fucking,
on.
like,
We do know
niche-ass
that
property.
we do know that they're on decent terms with Kojima. So, like, don't piss in the soup, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just freaking,
Yeah, I
like...
feel like the fans are just, like, kind of jumping into this way too hard, where they're just like,
we'll never forget.
yeah, I know.
Fuck
And it's
that,
just like,
man.
man,
Just
it's like,
let it go.
It's like these fucking people just come out of the woodwork, you know? It's like just bringing up the same talking points as, like, you know, 2015 and shit. I'm just like, yeah, dude. Like, I've already, like, moved past that. I'm already tired of hearing about it. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like, we just need to fucking move on and just, like, accept that Konami is going to make these remakes and just, like, hope for the best. You know, it's like, oh yeah, we need to know who's
it's
making it and why.
Yeah, and it's
like,
funny
okay,
because-
they're obviously they're gonna make money out of it.
Hey,
so
you
it's
know,
like,
here's the thing, though. We don't know the internal financial situation of Konami.
Yeah.
Like, who's to say that whenever they decided to freaking let Kojima go, that they were actually, like, pretty strapped for cash, and they were just looking for a quicker way to make money. So they saw freaking, you know, maybe pachinko and, like, these other cell phone games and all this stuff as a way to, like, hey, here's the thing. Here we are 8 years later, and somehow Konami still has the cash to fucking to inject into freaking like probably about like 8 different AAA games.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, sounds to me like you know, they still like they still have that they were successful in their endeavor.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's what they had to do to survive. Metal Gear survived, dude. Maybe that's what it was all about, dude. I'm sure.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think Konami was really strapped for cash. I think you know, I think it was
definitely
just,
not.
Yeah. I think it just more so has to do with you know, just
Maybe certain departments. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, there was probably some conflict with Kojima and, like, where they wanted to take the company and, like, you know, stuff like that. But
We don't know the internal.
yeah, I know. I don't know. Nobody
def-
knows.
they're
And it's like
definitely
there's
not
only
stra-
speculation.
They're definitely not strapped for cash after all these, like, you know, like
No,
cell
they're
phone
not.
games. They're
Maybe
not.
at the time they
And
were,
the
though.
fact that
No, I don't think they were.
and the,
They had all those fucking, like, those cell phone games that they were just bringing in all sorts of
Exactly.
fucking money.
yeah,
so,
that's
like,
what I'm saying, though.
They weren't strapped for cash.
Despite that, not only were they going to, like, bring back, you know, Dawn of the Enders back from the dead, they're also going to, like, I mean, they could just, like, you know, they could have just, like, stuck with the whole cell phone mobile market indefinitely. Fuck every single property. Who gives a shit? But they did, you know, they revived Zone of the Enders, and they're going to remake Metal Gear Solid. So it's just like, okay, I mean, again, they could just fucking, you know, go off into the sunset, just doing the same thing over and over and over again. But they're coming out with another AAA project. Hopefully, like, you know, there's more to it than just corporate greed here, I think.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They're actually, their IPs are super important. And I was already thinking, I'm like, man, like, they probably couldn't have even waited another year before their IPs started kind of drying up. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, they're probably not really, like, you know, doing very well with, like, you know, maybe they're starting to see some numbers dropping off. And they're like, okay, we need to actually reinvigorate all of our main IPs.
So that way we can release more pachinko games now.
No, I mean, I just, like, I'm pretty sure that they fucking know that, like, you know, if they don't do anything with their IPs, then people are just going to forget about it. And they're just, like, going to be, like, a nothing company. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They absolutely have to, like, reinvigorate their IPs. And I think that they know that they're in a sticky situation with the fans. And they're going to do everything they can to actually successfully reinvigorate. They're already doing the right thing by remaking MGS3, revisiting the Silent Hill franchise. There are so many new entries in the Silent Hill franchise. It's probably going to be the same thing with MGS.
That's a good point, actually.
And it's obviously going to be like only a matter of time till they reinvigorate fucking Castlevania too.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah, that's
maybe even
true.
Contra or something like that too.
Because
or-
there's only so much time. There's only so much profitability from just doing pachinko. Yeah, no, that's true. There's only so much time before they are forced. They're in a position where they can't just rely on pachinko machines anymore. So they're probably at that point.
Yeah, they gotta their company. All of their IPs are highly like cultured, like cultural, like they just they're some of the most acclaimed video game franchises in history, and it's like you can only do so much with just pachinko and cell phone games. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they have to just make new entries, and I felt like they couldn't. They literally could not even make any new entries. They probably waited the perfect amount of time because. I mean, the point that I brought up before is like, okay, maybe they just like ran out of money and they just needed to reinvigorate their IPs because their sales were down. Maybe that's not even the case. I think they've probably wanted to. They've probably wanted to keep making new entries in their franchises, but they just can't because the fucking backlash from the fans is just too fucking hard. Too harsh. And I think
that's a good point.
Yeah. So it's like it's either probably one of those two, and I think that like they just waited enough time for the people to just kind of move past this whole Kojima thing, and it's kind of why I'm kind of pissed off about like these fucking fans, like GameSpot coming out and just like. Making this video about like, oh yeah, man, why we're worried about Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. I'm like,
again,
who's developing it? It's like, why does it matter?
Why are they developing it?
Again,
it's like,
why does it matter why they're developing it?
As of this recording, all we have is a trailer and some screenshots. That's all we have.
It's like a teaser trailer too.
A teaser trailer. Yeah. And that's all we have. And already there's like all kinds of fucking like antagonism. It's like what the fuck? Who's making this shit? What the fuck? Microtransactions, and I was like, dude, like, I mean,
let's see the game first before you start talking about microtransactions,
or even a couple more trailers, dude. Even like or some gameplay trailers or something, because I guess it's interesting how this like GameSpot video, it says like, oh yeah. We're still totally open. We could be wrong, blah, 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 blah. But like they only said that like at the very end of the fucking video.
After they had just like fucking like said all this shit.
Open arms, bullshit, dude.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like open arms at all. It almost
sounds like they're trying to start a campaign against this whole fucking project.
Well, dude, I mean, are you really that surprised considering it's the freaking mainstream media?
Well, yeah, no. Well, not only that, but it's just popular to hate on shit now, and I'm fucking getting tired of this shit, especially since it's already starting to happen with with Metal Gear with just this trailer that was
within a freaking 2 days.
Yeah, no. And it's like you're already starting to get people like coming out of the woodwork and just saying like, oh yeah, man, fucking. I'm the quintessential Metal Gear fan, But it's like, no, you're fucking a Kojima fanboy. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, we need to separate the Kojima fans from the Metal Gear fans.
Yeah,
and we need to freaking just like, I mean, really, we do.
That's what you were even saying. It's like
I was saying,
it's like,
true.
dude,
yeah.
it's like we need to not fucking like.
Remember that time
we need to not appeal to the lowest common denominator, which is these Kojima fanboys that'll just like. Follow him no matter what, even if he comes out with shitty games.
I remember
like
making a post. We were part of this like this fan group on Facebook, and I had this idea of like the culture of that fan group, and I literally made like a post there saying like, you know what, I'm not even sure if I'm a Metal Gear fan. I think I'm more of a Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 fan.
Yeah, I know. I remember you saying that.
And it's just like, yeah, I'm just not really that down. I love.
You're not that down with the fan base.
I love the quirkiness, but then I feel like there's a little bit too much quirkiness within like the latest like.
Starting with MGS3.
Starting with it. Well, starting. It was still acceptable. I still love that game.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like. It's not even necessarily the games. It's more about the fandom where it got to the point where people were saying that Metal Gear Solid Rising is the best Metal Gear game because it's just like, because of the LOL random kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just can't relate to that.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, dude. I know
Yeah,
exactly
no,
what you're talking about, but those are exactly the qualities of Metal Gear Solid that I like hate. Like, I don't like the fact that, like, you know, the series kind of started getting into that realm where it was like, you know, oh yeah, it's just like, you know, I mean, I don't know if this is like into the same thing, but like almost like a weeb kind of like mentality,
Yeah.
where like it's just like gets into like these people's minds that they're, you know, they're like weebs and they're, oh yeah, you know, it's fucking, yeah, this shit's so fucking, you know, Japanese and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, dude, like, get over that shit. Don't be appealing to those people. They're the loudest on Twitter, but don't appeal to those people because they're not the freaking mainstay freaking people that you're going to want to appeal to whenever you're, whenever you're freaking selling your game. They're not going to be the ones that buy the
Yeah,
game.
no, like that one guy in the GameSpot video said, he was like, yeah, you know, like these people, like, you know, these gamers on Twitter, they'll fucking, you know, complain and all this, or they'll just be like super hyped up about something, and then they won't even buy the game at the end of the day. Like,
Yeah.
they'll demand all this shit on Twitter, but then when it comes to actually time to buy the game, they won't buy it.
Yeah. I mean, the guy was already saying that shit. He was like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm going to buy this game. Even though, I mean, if they do this and this and this, then I'll buy it. But I was like, dude, like,
Oh, if
Konami,
if they
for the
honor-
love of God, please don't fucking appeal to these people. Don't even listen to these people. Don't even
Yeah.
just, like, these people are actually, like, poison for, like, the project. Like, don't appeal to them. Like, don't appeal to these Kojima fanboys. Like, those are the people that you should not be adhering to at all. You need to be adhering to, like, hardcore fans of the freaking of the fucking franchise.
That actually take it serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dude, there are plenty of freaking like hardcore. Dude, the thing is, like, not even the hardcore fan base, like the hardcore Metal Gear fan base, not just attached to Kojima, but like the hardcore Kojima fan base is the way to go because that has been proven to like to be the fan base that to move forward with, to actually appeal to, that will extend beyond just the Kojima fan base. If you're going to just appeal to like a small little demographic of like fanboys, then you're just going to get the small little like, you know, fucking, whenever the sales numbers come out, it's like, well, yeah, we got those fucking Kojima fanboys, but like, you know, you missed out on the bigger picture, you know? Don't freaking adhere to these people. Just don't. It's almost like a go broke
Don't
or
do
go
it.
woke situation.
No, I'm just adding it. Don't fucking do it, dude. Don't fucking do it. Fucking, you need to fucking appeal to the actual fans, dude.
The actual fans, and then like
That have
to
stuck
be honest with
with
you, who they need to appeal to. Basically, what my point is, don't appeal to the Kojima fanboys. Appeal to Metal Gear fans who actually like the games
Or
as
even-
they are and who appreciate them without the attachment of Kojima involved. And from there, you will basically see a flood of people come in just like you did with the original games.
Yeah,
Appeal-
they also need to appeal to Konami fans that were just like loved all the Konami games, like Castlevania,
Yeah.
Silent Hill, Metal Gear, Contra.
Dude, here's
like,
the
you know,
thing,
it's like
dude.
there was a
Okay.
lot of
Okay,
fucking
wait, hold on.
Konami fans. I was a Konami fan. I was like, I was a huge Konami fan.
Yeah.
And it's like, I literally thought that was the best game company up until like they fucking pretty much stopped making games.
How many people do you think bought Metal Gear? Hold that thought.
Yeah.
How many people do you think bought Metal Gear? Metal Gear Solid 1 and Metal Gear Solid 2 back in the day, who even knew who Hideo Kojima even was?
I would say about like maybe 20 to 30% of people.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe not even.
A
actually.
minority.
Maybe not even.
A
Yeah.
minority.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, like, those people, they didn't buy Metal Gear Solid 2 because, oh yeah, this is a Hideo Kojima game. Okay, I'm going to buy it.
It was
No.
literally on its merits.
Yeah, it was on its merits, and that's what they need to go back to. Release the game on its merits. Don't be like stroking the ego of these freaking Metal Gear Solid, or I mean, I'm sorry, these Kojima fanboys. Anyways, go on.
Okay, so appeal to the weirdos. Okay, appeal to the weirdos, but you need to also appeal to the weirdos that know how to act normal.
Yeah.
Okay, That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appeal to
Appeal the
normal
weirdos-
fucking people. Normal
Yep.
fucking people
Yeah.
are like
Yeah.
the vast,
Appeal to the weirdos
vast
that can-
majority.
that you can bring home to your mom.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, the thing is,
That's
like,
what you need to do.
have
That's what
you
they
have
need to do.
They have to just see it from like the success of Metal Gear Solid 1. You know, it's like it literally just appealed to normal people. Like I remember even my math teacher in fucking like 6th grade was like played Metal Gear Solid. She didn't
Yeah.
know anything about Hideo Kojima. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So it's like, you know, it's just like they need to just appeal to like average, everyday people, not just like the Twitter mob. That's we got to make sure that we have like good, that we're just, maybe they should purposefully piss off some of these fucking Metal Gear, this Kojima fans and shit. That like
It feels like there might be a sort of like
A war brewing.
a pendulum swing towards that side.
Oh yeah, there definitely is. I mean, it's like the whole, like, I mean, everybody knows about like Twitter mob mentality and stuff like that, and just like people that are just.
But there's
like,
a contrast between like the Twitter mob and the people that are actually contributing to society.
yeah, I know. They need to just like cut out all that noise that's happening on Twitter or just social media.
Don't appeal to basement dwellers
And
who
also,
have no
dude,
money to
for-
buy your
yeah,
game.
fucking for the love of God, don't fucking appeal to game journalists either.
Yeah.
Don't appeal to the people that aren't even gonna fucking take the effort to vote, dude.
Actually, make this game have a fucking critic score of like 10% and an audience score of like 99%.
Yes.
That's what you want to do.
yeah, it's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Go for the audience score, not the critic score.
Yeah, exactly. That's where you're going to get massive amounts of money.
And I think that's what Konami is very good at, though. I think they don't give a shit about like appealing to game journalists and shit. They're not trying to win those people over. Those are the people that were like literally publicly fucking shaming Konami, like fucking Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley and
yeah.
shit? God, dude, fuck that guy.
Yeah, he's still fucking like trying to fucking talk shit about fucking Konami, like as if.
Who is developing this? Apparently, he was like heavily involved with like the PlayStation, or not heavily involved with the PlayStation event, the State of Play event, but like he was reporting on it and like was like basically promoting all of these games except for Metal Gear Solid. And he was like, and the only thing he even promoted about Metal Gear Solid was he made a single tweet: "Who's developing this?"
Wait,
That was his
wait,
thing.
Jeff Keighley, the fucking guy that's like really close with Kojima?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
He's doing that shit?
What do you mean? That's not surprising at all.
Man, I didn't
It's,
know.
it's probably why all these game journalists are like, yeah, who is developing it? Yeah, what we need to get behind. Like,
Yeah,
we need,
Jeff,
we need,
tell us who's fucking developing it.
we need,
Jeff,
to, we,
yeah.
need, we need to
We're
get to
talking
the
about
bottom
the same
of
guy
this.
that was like that had this fucking weird drama with Joe the game reviewer. What's his name?
Oh,
Angry Joe?
Angry Joe, yeah.
Damn, I didn't know he was up his that far up his, Kojima's ass.
Oh,
shit.
dude, are you kidding me? He's probably the one guy that's up there, probably sniffing all sorts of freaking fecal matter, dude.
Sniffing the sphincter and shit.
Yeah, dude.
Damn,
Far beyond the sphincter, dude. He's already way
His
in the
teeth?
intestine, dude.
sniffing his teeth.
Yeah, dude. This guy's probably like already in the fucking small intestine.
He's like a fucking like the xenomorph mouth. He's like the xenomorph who's fucking peeking out of the fucking mouth. And shit.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah, dude, that's how far up Kojima's ass he is, dude.
He's like, goddamn,
Yeah,
Coming out of his fucking mouth and shit.
yeah,
It
dude.
went all the way through.
spitting the acid.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that about Jeff Keighley, too, is that he's just like the biggest Kojima dick sucker out there.
Damn.
But, like, hey, dude, you know, like, don't appeal to that guy. Like, that guy is just like, that guy is the equivalent of, like, just poison.
A corporate poison.
Corporate poison. Like, he is going to be the guy that, like, basically makes sure your game. This is the perfect guy to piss off.
Yeah.
He's the perfect guy to piss off because he is like he represents the fucking like the freaking oligarchy, basically. You know, he is the freaking guy in charge of like the entire journalist community.
He's
of
the head of the
gaming.
Patriots of this universe.
Yeah, dude.
The gaming
Take him
universe.
down.
Yeah.
Take him down, Konami. Take him down. Don't be freaking adhering to any of these people that we need fucking Kojima's like blessing.
Konami,
We need to make sure Kojima. Like, I was just watching a video. I told you earlier in this podcast. Like, I literally saw a video, and this guy was like making all these good points, and then out of nowhere he's like starts talking about Kojima. He's like, oh yeah, man. Well, is Kojima gonna get paid for this? Like, what the fuck? Why the fuck would Kojima get paid, dude? He doesn't work for Konami anymore.
Well, I mean,
He doesn't own
thing
the
is-
property.
Well, the thing is, he did get paid.
He did get paid. They already hey, for all you people out there, Kojima got paid to make Metal Gear Solid 3. Okay? He negotiated with them to make that game. He got paid handsomely.
Millions of dollars.
Millions. I mean, the guy's worth like, I don't know, about
50 million or something?
40, $50 million. He got paid, okay? Like, stop pretending like Konami just like fucking like treated this guy like shit.
Stop pretending that this guy just needs more money. Like it's like, well, why does he? He's already set for life, you know. It's
he's
like
set for life. He's fucking all these like stars and shit. He's fucking, you know.
He's already like posting selfies with like all of his heroes, Mads Mikkelsen, James Cameron, J.J. Abrams, fucking all these.
At the end of the day, that was his end goal. You know, was just to be like in with the Hollywood crowd, and it's like
he got it. So just leave him be.
Yeah,
let's see what he does with his thing now. You know, he's doing Death Stranding too, and he's got this other shitty ass looking horror game. But like, you know, let's see what he does with that game that he's got with Elle Fanning or whatever. Like, let's see what you do with that. And then fucking, you know, you do your own thing. But like, just stay away from this Metal Gear reboot shit. Like, you know, I mean, I wouldn't mind having his blessing. That would be great, I guess.
He's probably gonna get credit for fucking writing and, you know, the game and like, you know.
Even if he didn't, it's like, again, like you guys have been saying, it's like you got paid, you got credit. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. You know,
why do they need to publicly like, oh yeah, you know, we're sorry, everybody, we're sorry that we treated Kojima this way. It's like, dude, just fucking like move on. Just fucking move on already. It's like we need to be looking at the future. Stop fucking like just dwelling on the past and fucking like just fucking like move on. We got some new Metal Gear shit coming out. It looks fucking awesome. Let's fucking move on. Seriously. Like, I don't know. I'm just so fucking tired of this Kojima shit. I'm like, dude. Like.
All right. So I just looked it up just to make sure. But, yeah. Hideo Kojima net worth $30 million. $30 million. Guy's set. Stop worrying about him. He's okay. He can pay his bills, okay? Just stop worrying about the fucking Hideo Kojima shit. He's already got his own studio. He's doing his own fucking thing. Don't be worrying about, hey, man, hey, Konami, you better be fucking paying this guy. Nah, dude. He's already worth $30 fucking million. Well, stop it.
Yeah, and his company is probably like worth more than that too.
Oh yeah, that's just him by himself. Mm-hmm. Of course his company makes more money than that. His company probably makes like upwards to like $100 million just off of one game, which is Death Stranding.
Yeah.
I mean, how many fucking copies did they sell of that game? You know?
They sold a lot.
It was,
you have to think, like 60...
It wasn't as much of a success, but it was a success.
Yeah, sure. They're already making a sequel, so, you know, he's good. He's good. Don't worry about Hideo Kojima. He's going to be just fine. Stop worrying. It's going to be okay.
If it doesn't say a Hideo Kojima game in next trailer, I'm not going to fucking buy this game, dude. I'm not, dude.
Man, yeah, we got to fucking...
Wrap it up?
Well, I don't know. I guess probably that's a good stopping point, right?
Yeah. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. Stay tuned for more Metal Gear news.
Yeah, we're gonna do. We're probably gonna do podcasts with every major update of this game for sure.
Okay, before we wrap up, to be completely fair, one legitimate concern that I do have is maybe like microtransactions with Metal Gear Online. Hey,
at least we're getting a new Metal Gear Online if that's the case.
I do agree with that. I just hope that whatever microtransactions we get is purely aesthetic. Hopefully they don't fucking, you know, add like, you know, fucking actual gameplay shit. But I am excited for another Metal Gear Online.
I'm just excited in general that the Metal Gear franchise is getting a fucking reboot. You know?
Yeah.
It's like I'm excited. I mean, it's like, stop fucking worrying about Kojima and just like be excited for once. You know, be actually happy about something for once. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like these fucking fans and shit. It's like, dude, just. That fucking initial reaction that you had, that gut feeling you had, oh shit, a new Metal Gear game, okay. And then it's like, and then people just start worrying about shit. I'm like, dude, just fucking like let it go. Just be excited. There's going to be good shit coming out. You know, Konami isn't a fucking like
Konami is not like Satan or something that's coming to reap the souls of your freaking children and shit. Just fucking be excited about this game, okay? It's like this is the best thing that we have had for Metal Gear fans in 8 years, almost a decade. So, like,
Christ.
please just stop.
Don't ruin it.
Yeah, don't ruin it. Please just don't ruin it. Please.
At the very least, just fucking wait and see, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
You're getting a new Metal Gear game. It's better than having nothing, right? Just freaking see what it's all about. If you like it, if it's successful, we're gonna get more, probably better stuff, especially with the Metal Gear Solid 1 remake. What you got? See, here's the thing: if you support this game, even in its current state, even if it's not like absolutely perfect, the thing is that this ain't even the best Metal Gear game. It's Metal Gear Solid.
A lot of
You all will know that whenever Metal Gear Solid 1 remake comes out, that like, oh shit, like this was actually the best game in the franchise.
Okay, yeah.
And then
I think that's why
we're not going to get there unless we support this game.
Yeah. Okay. It's really funny because you mentioned, you say that because Metal Gear Solid 3 is the consensus is that it is the best game, but like I want, again, well, I already mentioned it, so I'm not going to say it again. Just very briefly, I want the fucking opposite to happen. I want Big Boss to be the main character, but then for that fucking title to be transferred to like the true main character, which is
Solid Snake.
Solid Snake.
Yeah.
But also, dude, fucking, like, again, probably the fourth time that I brought this up, we literally only have a fucking teaser trailer and some screenshots.
Yeah, I know. It's just
You
like
gotta
be
fucking
happy
calm down,
with that.
dude.
It looks good. It's like nothing wrong with it at all. And you know the thing is, if we actually support this game, and then we get a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake, and then we get a Metal Gear Solid 2 remake, I mean, God, you know, like you
Sky's the limit.
Yeah, you literally have like Konami. They know about fucking the Resident Evil remakes. They know about the DLC where you get to play like as new characters. You know, for like, you know, it's not even necessarily like the Resident Evil remake, but say like the newer Resident Evil games. Like I think it was 8 that they had a new DLC where you can get to play like a whole new chapter with new characters and shit. Imagine if they fucking came out with MGS2 remake. And then they had a DLC where you can play as Snake during the Big Shell missions or something like that. I mean, it's like the sky is the limit. Like they could literally.
The speculations that we had with fucking Snake. There was like some photoshopped fucking screen, you know, fucking image of fucking Solid Snake fighting fucking Ocelot on the Big Shell.
Yeah. I mean, see, here's the thing.
Happen.
Yeah, here's the thing is that like, you know, I feel like Kojima. Like always fucking like knew what the fans wanted. He always even says like, oh yeah, you know, his advice to Jordan Vogt Roberts was to piss off the fans, to subvert expectations. I'm so fucking
Betray
tired
your
of this
audience.
shit. I feel like if Konami actually like gets a hold of this like on their own without Kojima, they can actually do more fan service for the fans than Kojima ever did, like especially with MGS2.
They'll give Raiden his own games, and they'll fucking give you Snake games.
Or even betray the audience, but in the right way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, but like I think that, you know, say for instance, like with the whole like Star Wars thing with the Mandalorian, like they had like, you know, Luke come in at the very end of season 2, and he was just like fucking kicking ass and shit, and everybody was like, "Oh shit, this is exactly what we wanted to see," you know, like for so fucking long, is just to see Luke and his fucking like young version of Luke, fucking like, you know, kicking ass and shit.
Yeah, we can literally have that same effect with this fucking franchise.
Because Konami is a company. They're not really like just one guy that's like trying to like just like, oh, I'm gonna do things my way, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then whenever things were done his way, we got Raiden, you know, we got the medic, you know what I'm saying? Whenever it's like a company that's like well, yeah, but like that was like a huge fucking letdown for people that played MGS2.
Oh man,
it was though. It was.
Yeah.
You have to
lot
admit.
of people
You still have to admit that like it was a letdown for like the vast majority of people.
Yeah. So imagine if Konami fucking just knows like what the fans.
Well, here's the thing: they could just literally make an MGS2, and they could make like if whenever you beat the game, you can go back and play as Snake. You know, like
Yeah.
that's actually something that's open.
I think they would. I
Legal.
think they would make that a DLC. That's definitely
Yeah,
people would pay for that.
DLC.
Yeah, I would pay for that.
I do.
I would fucking pay for that big time,
Yeah.
dude.
But yeah, okay, yeah. I'm just wanted to like clarify that like Raiden.
Raiden was perfect for MGS2.
Yes.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I think having like to play a Snake during the Big Shell, like, would be fucking
fun.
awesome.
After the fact, After
Yeah. After you beat the game, the main storyline, and you get like some DLC, maybe 6 months later, some shit where you play a Snake or
Okay,
something.
I understand what you guys are getting at.
Yeah. And then like fucking, you get to like live that fucking part of it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like what they did with Half-Life
Game Plus.
Yeah, like Half-Life Alyx, for instance, right? Like you get to just like play the events of Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
But through the eyes of Alex, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like they could do that with MGS2, and I just feel like they're going to be more hungry with what as a company, like, okay, what can actually bring us more fucking fan, like how can we satisfy the fans? How can we make more money?
Yeah. Okay,
we're gonna fucking like make DLC where you play as Snake. It's like this. It's like the most obvious fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like it would be fucking awesome if they did that.
Yep.
I might just be like shooting high, but like fuck, man, like it just seems like a no brainer almost. You know? Because like everybody loves playing as Snake. If you want a new game as Snake, well, shit, like fucking just play this game.
What's really interesting about this is that like, whenever we were in our teens and 20s, we're speculating about things that are being dictated by people that are in their 40s and 50s and 60s. But now we're dealing with shit, with the people that are behind this project. They're probably our age.
Yeah.
So and they there's probably members of that team that have played the game.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of like ridiculous that like people just dismiss just like everybody else that was involved with these games. It's like Kojima was not the only person that was like that made these games successful. There was other writers, Shio Murata, Tomokazu Fukushima. He's like another writer. There's other writers out there. You know what I'm saying?
In fact, the highest rating MGS game is like Ghost Babel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like he wrote that game.
God. No,
but like what I'm saying is that like they can fucking get writers to fucking write some like okay, so with Kojima we had like we wanted to play as Snake, right? And they whenever they released Substance and they showed like Kojima knows that people wanted to play as Snake for MGS 2, but he didn't give it to him. And he knew that that's what people wanted, but he just didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so it's like
they did it again with MGS4.
Yeah, no. Well, the thing is,
now you want to play as fucking. Right.
Yeah, no, exactly. But the thing is, like, he's just like always trying to fucking like let the fans down, or just like not giving the fans
subvert expectations.
Yeah, no, he's all about that subverting expectations shit, which is like what I don't even fucking want at this point at all anymore. I just want to have like a Top Gun Maverick type of fucking game where it's like you get to play as the main character. The fucking main character is kicking ass, and he's like fucking like there's a fucking good story to go along with it, and it's just satisfies the fans, and that seems to that has like already been proven to make the most money.
Oh, I think I know what you're getting at, because like his one of his main like things was to subvert expectations, and he took it too far with Death Stranding.
Well, no, not even that.
But
But
like with
MGS 5, MGS 2, basically where he basically like restricted you from playing who you really wanted to play.
Yeah, no,
as.
I remember whenever
like
MGS2.
so. For instance, like let's just look at it from like a Star Wars perspective. Like for the new trilogy, the Disney trilogy that they came out with, they literally showed you Luke. They like gave you Luke, but they gave you a version of Luke that was fucking literally lame as fuck, and you weren't even like, oh god, what the fuck? This is like what Luke has become. And then you had Top Gun Maverick, which was like, fucking they gave you the character that you wanted to see, badass as fuck. They gave him to you, badass as fuck. They fucking literally just freaking gave the audience what they wanted, and the audiences came, and they literally like, I think today it's like maybe even the top grossing movie of all time as far as the United States domestic budget. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure about that, but it's like up there. And it almost went up to $2 billion.
Yeah.
And people wanted to fucking. People know what they want, and if you give it to them, they will literally pay fucking butt tons of money.
But
dude.
you're not going to get that with Kojima at the helm of it, because he'll give you Snake Tales. You know, he knows what people want. Oh yeah, you can play as Snake in the big shell, but we're going to give you some little side story things that are just kind of like, you know, you get to play as Snake in the big shell, but it's not going to be the mainline story. You know,
Yeah, so he kind of took he took the Seinfeld formula, but like he took it way too far.
Yeah, I'm just tired of it because, like, I felt like, you know, with with Metal Gear Solid 1, he was hungry. He fucking wanted to fucking build his fan base. He wanted to fucking impress people, and he wanted to make a name for himself. And so he actually did what fans wanted. Like the fans of Metal Gear 1 and 2, he did what.
Why do you think he like misled everybody with MGS2? It's because
he knew that people
wanted Snake, and he knew that they would hate Raiden if he just introduced this character as the main character. And he basically like lied to you, and then he fucking got you to purchase the game, but under the guise that you would be playing as Snake the entire game.
Wasn't there like a focus group where like they?
Yeah, it was in Japan where they like
they were more attractive
interviewing
to, like,
women and shit.
So like it's like, okay, well, I want to play more attractive characters, so like we added like. So I'm thinking maybe. Yeah, he knows that people want to play Solid Snake, but they took into account that they want to include more.
Well, that was just a dumb decision on his part, dude. That was just a really
it was literally
stupid
like
decision.
I like Raiden, dude.
Raiden is good. I'm not gonna say he's not a bad character. I'm not gonna say he's a bad character. He's a good character.
I like the idea of like the character. I like the idea of a sequel where the main character is not the main character of like the past. But like you come in and like the fucking character of that past like is like your mentor.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm not even saying that they need to even take Raiden out of the game. All I'm saying is they need to come out with some DLC to where you can play as Snake. You know,
yeah,
that's not part of the main.
Another thing too is that like, you know, once
game.
again with MGS, okay, they did it with MGS2. Mm-hmm. They did it with with MGS3. They kind of semi gave you what you wanted with Big Boss, and then with MGS4, they once again subverted your expectations because they gave you a version of the character Solid Snake that was like fucking old and decrepit and dying. And then after that, they gave you the fucking. And then with MGS5, they motherfucking gave you not even who they told you that you were playing.
Yeah, you were the medic, but then also with MGS4. They made the badass character Raiden in that game, and not Snake. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, fuck. Like, this guy is always just, like, making fucking characters that you want to play as, but not letting you play.
He's not giving you what you want. He's not giving you what you want, and this is the main problem. This is why Metal Gear Solid 1 is the best game, because it's exactly what you expect with a Metal Gear game. You're playing a Snake, he's badass, the game is badass, the fucking story's badass, the music is badass, the fucking everything about that game is perfect. But then after that, he just started slowly, like, started gravitating towards, like, basically pissing fans off. And I think it really coalesced with MGS5, and it was like, dude, fucking, what the fuck am I even playing? Now I'm not even playing as the character you told me I was playing as? You know? Like, what the fuck?
Yet again, with fucking, like, you know, just...
I think he took it way too far with 5. But I do have to say, I think 4 is the game that is like the cutoff, where I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, that is where is the cutoff where it's like, okay, the story got progressively like worse.
Yeah.
But I would still say that like MGS4 has a really good idea. I really do like the idea of like an aging character that's like a hero, that's like fucking like badass as fuck in the beginning.
Sure, yeah.
But like despite the odds of like having accelerated aging, like all this stuff, he's still able to like save the world one last time. And but also I do like tragedies. That could be, you know, why like I'm still like sympathetic with like, you know, MGS4, but like that's the reason why, like, yeah.
Hey, MGS4 exists. I actually do like
there's-
it overall, but to be honest with you, I actually hope that at the end of this freaking remake trilogy that they do with Metal Gear 3, 1, and 2, that whenever they get around to doing part 4, that they actually completely retcon it. And that's the one that they decide to make a fresh new freaking continuation.
That's not gonna happen.
I know it's not going to happen, but that would be my hope. Is that they
Yeah.
would just retcon 4 and
I'm
just
not-
make a fresh take moving forward from 2. Because I was
problem
not
they're-
satisfied with 4 at all.
I'm-
even though there was elements of it that I absolutely
Yeah, I'm
loved.
thinking that they're probably gonna revisit the same like game plan as like Metal Gear Rising, the original Metal Gear Solid Rising.
Yeah.
Like the one that was actually going to be developed by Konami.
Yeah.
I think that they probably would like I would be down to fucking play that version of the game.
Yeah, I
Like
would
that would be
definitely
really
play
cool. Like to actually play as Raiden, like rescuing Sonny or
Shit,
whatever.
even if you got a fucking imagine if they like did a retcon with that, where they were like, oh
Because
yeah,
there's
you
obviously-
play as Raiden in the first part of the game, but then you play as this character Snake, who's just like way less capable. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, that'd be funny. But like, I don't know, man.
That's
I
actually what
just
you
feel
want
like
and
I'm way more intrigued by the original idea of Metal Gear Solid Rising, the fact that it took place in between 2 and 4.
Yeah.
And like, I would definitely like to play that. That would be freaking awesome. But like, they could even call it Metal Gear Rising 2 or some shit. I don't fucking give a shit. It's like
Yeah.
that
I
was
mean,
the
they wouldn't
original
even
idea.
You wouldn't even need to, because the game was like 10 years old by now.
Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah, I
like
know.
they just call it Metal Gear Solid Rising,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, they literally own all of the fucking game plan for that game. They
Yeah, they
own
do,
the.
yeah.
They probably even still
They
have.
own,
some-
they have all those assets. They
Yeah.
have everything.
Yeah, they know what that game was supposed to be, and they could probably just like take that idea and just make it into something better. You know, they have stuff to work with. I'm pretty sure they have blueprints from like other projects, other ideas and stuff that they had going on, like meetings that they had where they just took notes and like. They can definitely delve into some shit that that never even saw
God,
the
they
light
even
of
have
day.
a ton of freaking Yoji Shinkawa artwork. And
Oh yeah,
shit.
no, I mean he fucking was.
God, they were literally developing that game for probably 2 years before they even handed it over to freaking Platinum Games.
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Maybe
they
even
were.
longer,
Yeah.
probably like 3 or 4 years.
Man,
No,
that
it
game.
wasn't 3 years. Probably
That
2
game was
years.
like fun as fuck. It's the story, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I
it was
couldn't
pretty
even.
bad.
I skipped every cutscene.
Yeah, I remember.
I
I
downloaded
remember
it for
actually.
PC,
I remember
and I
me and
skipped
Sean.
every cutscene.
Whenever that game came out, we were like taking turns playing it, and then whenever Sean was playing it, I remember just falling asleep and shit. God damn, dude, this game. Like,
I literally remember whenever I the first playthrough that I did, and I didn't skip the cutscenes.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm going through it. It's like, wait, why are we killing this guy again? What the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
why are we even here? I don't even know what the fuck. I'm just so bored. Like the fucking, and then that fucking Brazilian kid. Like,
Cowabunga.
yeah, fucking
Yeah.
go ninja, go. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe
That yeah, whatever. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that like, can you imagine Metal Gear Solid 1 and then that shit happens in the middle of that game? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, there's some random kid in there like, oh man, go ninja, go ninja. I'm like, dude, that's exactly the type of shit that I'm talking about that the Metal Gear franchise delved into eventually. Like they took, man. Here's the fucking ridiculous thing is that like you look at a franchise like fucking James Bond, for instance, and they've like kind of continued on. I mean, got more serious and serious and serious as it went on. I mean, granted, of course, there's been some kind of like flaky movies that come out here and there, but like overall, like the series has like retained its like seriousness. I mean, we just saw the last one. What was it? No Time to Die. No Time to Die. I mean, it was like freaking. You had your freaking. With No Time to Die, you had.
Sean, can you pass me the lighter?
With No Time to Die, you had. Like a very serious take on the James Bond lore and shit, a very serious entry, and most of if not all of Daniel Craig's entries into the franchise were very serious. What I'm saying is that's where they need to go with MGS. They need to take it away from the Roger Moore Moonraker shit, and they need to move it into Daniel Craig, back to its roots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Make it more serious, get it back to where it needs to go. Stop with the freaking silly bullshit. I don't know. Just make it freaking like actually cool.
They are going to do that. They definitely are going to do that. I think, like with these new remakes, they're not. they're not Kojima. You know what I'm saying? They might have some quirky shit. You know, whoever they get to like actually helm these.
At the end of the day, it is part of the fucking like the lifeblood of that series. You gotta have some quirky shit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
All right, so for MGS1, like let's like name some quirky shit that happened. Like what happened in there? That was like
whenever Snake discovered Liquid's parachute, and he had
that wasn't silly.
It was because like
quirky. What do you mean?
Because like he fucking called Colonel, and it was like, okay, Colonel said like it seems like he sent a message, and then Snake said, yeah, that message was, I'll string you up. And then
that was badass, dude.
That was
literally
that
badass.
was
silly. That was silly.
Dude, no. That's not what we're talking about at all. I'm talking about Cowabunga. Go ninja, go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Like the fucking Armstrong, or
Right.
like,
Yeah.
or like Nerd. You know, I'm gonna fucking publish it on the Nerd.
Whenever you have like your little inflatable fucking decoys that are like, oh yeah, you're pretty good or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I guess. Well, to be honest, I guess the closest thing that would be to that is the cardboard box thing.
That's fucking what I'm talking about, dude.
No, I
or like whenever,
I like that.
whenever fucking Eva like fucking like runs over his face.
I like
and
the
shit.
ocelot.
He's like, you know what I'm saying? Like
I like the ocelot's meow. I liked it.
Didn't do anything for me. Didn't do anything for the story at all.
It made me cringe pretty
Made
bad.
me cringe, and it was very fucking like not. It was very like, oh god, I don't know. For me, that was what I was like.
That's fair.
Get it? He's an ocelot.
Oh well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, can you imagine him doing that in MGS1? Imagine. Oh, sorry, boss. I thought I didn't know. Come on, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's like, there's a seriousness about MGS1 that is like pure, and
No, there is.
yeah.
But I will say that I was not bothered by that level of quirkiness. That's all I'm gonna say.
What, the string?
This is the greatest handgun ever
But
made.
yeah, I
6
wasn't-
shots to kill anything that.
Like, God,
Whenever he gets his
dude.
hand cut off.
Dude, it was like, man, fucking stop with the silliness, dude.
I would. Well, I don't know. I didn't have that much of a problem with the silliness in MGS3. Now MGS4, whenever Raiden was like breakdancing the geckos, that was my line. That's my line right there, dude.
I felt like Sonny's character overall was just fucking
Way too cringy.
yeah,
Yeah.
too cringy and fucking like the.
Can you imagine how much better they could have done a character like that? I mean, dude, they could have made him like more like John Connor. They could have made him more like I don't know, the kid from Sixth Sense or something, where it's like more serious. Like they just made this girl so freaking like.
Oh yeah, you didn't eat your. Eggs. You didn't eat your eggs.
Yeah.
Like, God, dude, what the fuck am I
agree with
playing?
that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, this is supposed
Well,
to be
but
this is supposed to be like in competition with like Tom Clancy fucking novels and shit.
Yeah, but then like you take that character, but then you put her in Metal Gear Rising, and she's a fucking like literal rocket scientist. And it's like, why didn't you make her that cool in the actual game?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. I'm just saying that the Metal Gear. I mean, imagine if they just randomly had a monkey walking around in MGS1 and shit. I mean, it's like, what the fuck?
Monkey
It's like
drinking cokes and
monkey
shit.
drinking Coca-Cola.
Yeah, no, I
cans
didn't
and
like the
shit.
monkey either. I didn't like the monkey.
You know, it's freaking
Little Gray.
Yeah.
Wait, who is Little Gray?
Little-
That's a Snatcher character, isn't it?
No, Little John is the Snatcher character.
Oh, okay.
That was the robot, right?
Mhm.
Little John was
what was the
Gene-
robot?
was John Gibson's robot,
Yeah, the one that was messed up and shit.
the one that they fucking pulled the
The
chip
one
out
that,
of.
the one that died.
He died, but they pulled the chip out of him and shit.
They were able to restore some data from it or something like that, right?
they got some leads from Little John, dude. Little John was a fucking character.
Oh yeah, the fucking the detective that Akio Otsuka played as.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. John Gibson was the main character of Sadacha, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like the Little John was like his Mark II or Mark
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Did you guys? Well, you obviously, of course, you listened to the.
Enough.
Audio
We never finished it, but yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
good. It's good.
I have the CDs. Yet another item I have in my collection. Got
We-
them CDs.
I
man.
need to stream Ghost Babel with you guys.
Thing is, like, I know there's videos on YouTube that are subtitled of Sadacher, but I haven't finished them.
I managed to finish it. What's on YouTube,
God, the
dude?
fucking music and that shit was badass.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. It was
Yeah.
so good.
All right,
Very
guys.
good
Things about the time to wrap up.
A little bit. It's
All right,
you know,
man.
time to wrap up.
It's already past midnight here in Houston, Texas. I don't know if y'all could notice that we were from Houston.
Why are you doxing us, dude?
Whoops.
We-
Actually, we're not in Houston technically. So,
We live in
jokes on y'all.
We live in
Friendswood.
yeah, we live in Friendswood, so hunt us down.
Snake style. All right, man. It was good. It was good talking to you guys tonight. We're gonna be doing more of these now that there's actually like Metal Gear information in the wild. Also, there's some forums that we want to like throw y'all's way. What are they?
mgsforums.freeforums.net.
Yeah, go to those forums. They're badass. They're like they'll remind you of the old days whenever we used to speculate. Before the days of Facebook and all that shit. This is going to be a very closed forum, very kind of personal forum. It's not going to be some freaking like open-ended massive community with like thousands and thousands of people. It's going to be like a
good
tight-knit
news.
community.
Good news for you stalkers out there.
Yeah, we got a nice little community we're going over there on the those forums. So like, if you want to join, I've only posted twice on there so far, but they just reopened after about like freaking probably 6-7 years. They went they went out of commission after the whole debacle with Konami and Kojima, and now they're back. We got an email saying that they're back. We've re-registered. It's a good place to go if you want your Metal Gear news from like a very closed off kind of like
Community.
intimate source.
But
So
very informed source.
yeah. So thanks for tuning in. We'll be back hopefully next week or whenever there's some new info. We'll be here relaying the information to you in the best possible way via podcast. All right. Talk to y'all later.
Good night.